to live stream.
I consent.
Thank you.
It says we're streaming live on the YouTube.
Oh.
Ooh.
Oh, I can see there's quite a bit of a delay.
Oh, is there? Can you see it right now?
I can, yeah.
All right, well.
Apologies for the people watching this in the future. This is us just getting set up. If
Getting
anyone
situated.
is watching and can hear us, let us know that we sound good.
Yeah. Can you see us? Can you hear our snaps? There
you go.
See our jazz hands. All that schmaz.
Yeah.
I know.
Entertain you.
I was looking to see if it's on your on your channel.
Oh yeah, I see it here. Oh, I see. Hello. Oh, I see people saying hi.
Oh yeah. Hey.
You are seen and heard. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Amazing.
I love
Holy
being seen
moly,
and
we're
heard.
live.
I can't even believe it. What a time this has been.
Right? What a crazy time. I mean, for both, you've had Mean Girls going on at the same time at your high school that you teach at, which I can't even imagine doing that and this. And
it's been a little stressful, but it's done now, just in time for the last episode. So this week won't be as stressful.
I saw the pictures; they looked great.
Yes, it was a lot of fun. It was a big hit. The program kind of took a hit during COVID and has been kind of building back in the past few years. So it was very good for the school and for the kids. And so I loved it. I'm glad it's done.
I hear you. I saw Mean Girls many times on Broadway.
Yeah.
Actually, my wife worked on the show for its whole run.
Man.
So we saw it.
I have thoughts about it. I have thoughts, but I think it pretty much exists for high schoolers. Like, it's so great for them and they love it so much. So whatever. Yeah. That's why it's there.
Well, I'm going to be, for you guys watching, you're going to see me looking at my phone a couple times. I'm just checking comments because I want to see what you guys are saying. And hey, Joey McDaniel, my pal Joey's watching. Hey, Joey.
Hey. Oh, I found it on my phone. Ah, there we are. Okay, I want to see. Yes.
Quarantine flashbacks to all the live Zoom shows. Yeah, that was.
Oh my God. I was just thinking about that today, like how much Zoom theater and cabarets I did because I was like going insane.
Yeah, but people got to do some great shows and play some great roles that they probably wouldn't have in a big production. So
oh yeah, absolutely.
Times.
Sure.
So welcome to all you watching. I don't know how many people are watching, but people are commenting, so I guess people are watching.
Yeah, there are people there.
And welcome to our final episode prediction live stream and
I know
and all that. So if you're on my channel, you probably know me. Welcome. I'm Mark Bonanni, Broadway by Ghostlight. If you don't know this lovely lady, I'm sure almost all of you do, but just in case, if you are a schmigaholic, which again, if you're watching this, you probably are, this woman gives, her and her husband do amazing schmig analysis that I personally am such a fan of.
Oh, thank you.
What do you got to say for yourself, Miss Emily?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I'm at Steel and Focus, and my husband and I sit down and we kind of just talk through every episode and kind of give our thoughts. And Jeff, my husband, pulls from his huge memory bank of every show he did as a little rock star musical theater guy. It's a lot of fun. I'm just such a fan of this show, and I know you are too, obviously. So it's been really fun. It's really fun to have content that's feels tailor-made for people like us and people I know who are watching right now.
Absolutely. Well, I saw this comment to my girls who are watching and needing to go to bed. Please go to bed. Please try to be quiet. Good night, girls.
Good night.
Yeah, I remember when I heard about this show, because I'm a Marvel movie nut. I don't care. You can have your opinions, but I don't care. I love them all so much. And I was obsessed with Easter egg breakdowns for all those movies.
Yeah.
And so when they announced this show, I was like, I wonder if there's going to be little Easter eggs and hidden things. So I wrote to Cinco Paul like a schmuck. I'm this guy. I was like, hey, sir, like, are there going to be Easter eggs or something for me to break down? He's like, yeah, I think there'll be one or two.
Maybe like a couple.
But like I had already sort of committed to breaking down the episodes, and then thank God that I absolutely fell in love with this brilliant show. I mean, just how lucky that it's such great content, such great musical theater history content. Plus, it's an amazing show that I love.
Oh yeah, and like talk about Easter eggs. Like the first season there were Easter eggs, but this season it's like it's off the charts this season because they're referencing themselves now. So like not just musicals, but then season one
callbacks are great. Besides musical theater, I think was it in your Ann Harada interview that she was saying that season one they weren't sure how it was going to be received, so they toned it down. But for season two, Cinco Paul just went whole ham and just gave him all the Easter eggs and references.
Yeah, exactly. Like the first season, I feel like the first season was a lot more nebulous. Like here's kind of the vibe of a lot of these kind of golden age musicals, with not as many like direct one-to-one parallels, even though they were there. But this season, it's off the charts. It's so much. It's like everything you could think of, and it helps because the musicals from this era are a lot more popular, mainstream, I guess you could say. Fun and dirty and sexy, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so many people are, trashing season one in the comments. I loved season one.
Yeah, no, we love season one here. Come on.
But yeah, this is a whole new animal, and certainly a little more exciting, I guess you could say, than season one. I guess that's fair to say. But
someone said in the comments that I'm peaking too much, so I'm turning my mic down. I'm sorry. I've never been told that I'm loud before. That's a new one for me. Just never heard that my whole life.
That's so funny. At least you knew that I would. Someone said that I was peaking. I'd be like, "Oh my God, it's over for me. I peaked."
I've already peaked. It's done. But at least I can turn my microphone down. I'm so sorry. I was so loud and earnest, you guys.
Oh, and mine is too quiet. Oh boy. I'll try to.
Whatever.
Project. Use my theater training.
I'll try to rein it in. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, we're very excited. So what should we talk about first?
Well, what do we think's gonna happen?
Talk about this season so far, and we left on a cliffhanger for this finale.
Oh, super cliffhanger! Yeah, like this last episode isn't like as wasn't as like as much like stuff and references. I feel like it was laying the groundwork for probably a lot that's about to happen in the finale.
Yeah. So the question is, the big question is, will they leave Chicago? What do you think? You think they're going to actually?
I feel like they have. I feel like they have to, or at least imply that they have to, because we have to get to the next level. I mean, I would love for them to stay in Chicago forever, but right. We got to go to the next era. I feel like the growth that Josh and Melissa have been going through, especially in Famous as Hell, I think is going to take them to a new character level. Melissa with her confidence and Josh with his, kind of teaching the hippies. But I don't know how they're going to get there.
Yeah, I wonder, because we've got to deal with Krat, and hopefully I'm hoping everyone will team together, all the different, because we've had these really three separate worlds in Chicago, the club and Bobby Flanagan Chicago Cabaret. We've had the hippie dippy land, and then like the Fleet Street, Quick Street, Sondheim. So I think I hope they all come together to rally and save the day.
Yeah, and we have to find out what the deal is. What is Krat hanging over Madame Frau and Sergeant Rivera's heads?
For sure.
My husband is convinced Sergeant Rivera wants to dance, or he wants to perform.
Oh, 1,000%. I agree with him so hard. I cannot wait. I hope there's going to be some kind of big Jaime dance extravaganza.
Yeah, he comes out with some "I Am What I Am" or something like that.
That's, people have been saying Lacage or Rocky Horror. They've been saying maybe some, because I think they're really on that BOA he touched that bow in that one episode.
That's right, he sure did.
People
Yeah.
are really looking into that.
And I don't know what Madame Frau's deal is, but she's got something in the mix, but I'm not sure what.
There's some skeletons there. I'm just checking the comments. The ribbon. Oh yes. So someone's like, please validate me. The ribbon. They're saying the pink ribbon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, our special guest is asking to jump in.
What?
We're gonna have a special guest, y'all.
Ooh.
But someone was saying the pink ribbon that the kids gave Codwell and was in her hair.
Yeah.
Was the same color and fabric as Betsy's basket ribbon in season 1 for the picnic basket auction. I mean, that's deep. But I wouldn't.
Gosh, the things we catch here.
The details that the art department and props department put in is insane. I was given a bunch of pictures of set pieces that didn't even make it into the show that are just riddled with references and Easter eggs. I mean, it's just crazy.
I truly don't know how like they keep track of them.
Yeah.
But I guess that's why they have a whole team, a whole universe of people.
Yeah. So let's see. While we're waiting for special guests to pop in, let's see. Here's an interesting. So, what do you think the narrator's end game is going to be? Where do you think this is going to go? One really interesting theory I saw was that he is a grown-up Carson from season 1.
I saw that too. Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, Jeff made a good point in our last episode that he's now that, he was obviously Ben Vereen and Pippin, the leading player at the beginning, and now he's segueing into this kind of like Judas role, and so I wonder how those archetypes might play in, but yeah, I wonder how like actual characters from like season 1 would figure into this, and into kind of the narrator's plan, or is he just part of like the minion team that Crad has? Right. I don't know.
and also with the finale episode, I mean, he started, like you said, clearly as the leading player, and we all know how the finale goes with Pippin. So I wonder if he's going to really get evil. But
yeah. It's gonna be like, think about your life, Josh.
Exactly.
Catch on fire. Oh, someone's. Oh.
Christopher Gattelli!
Hey!
Zoom bombing.
Hey! Chris Gattelli, choreographer of the stars.
So much. Thank you so much for being here and hopping in.
You all are the best. I mean, come on, best fans ever. Give me a break. Anything.
Schmiga nerds unite all over.
Yes.
Let me check the comments because I want to see. I'm sure people are going to have questions for you. There's a bit of a delay, so
yeah,
they're going to come in. I've been editing our episode 3 video today, and it's so good. There are people you're not going to believe. We're talking about bells and whistles, and
I was gonna say that's a good choreography episode with a lot of references.
Yeah.
Ooh, other stuff too. Some goodies.
Yeah. So where are you? What can you
I'm in New York. I'm kind of here working, but
nice.
All's good on this end. How about you? Both?
in our lovely dungeons that we are trapped in forever.
Yeah, right. I'm in California though, so it's kind of nice. So
that is nice.
People are saying they're loving our videos, so that's good.
Yay!
And so you did a workshop of Death Becomes Her, the musical. I know we're here to talk Schmigadoon, but like that's just so exciting. I know we talked a bit about it private, but I know you can't give away too much because we're in the workshop phase. But how did it go? That's so cool.
It went really well. It was really fun. I mean, I love the movie, and the performances are all great, but it's definitely a fun spin to put on stage. This is something kind of epic-ish that can live on stage for sure. Some are tricky, but this one feels right sized.
Oh yeah, feels like it always should have been a musical in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And Megan Hilty is the Oh, what's that
Not-
actress?
Yeah,
No,
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep. That has been
character.
yeah in my brain today.
Great. It was a great group. So yeah, it was fantastic.
So one question I see right off the bat that actually many people have reached out asking me to ask you. Can you please explain Erica's leg bit in Didn't Shock You? People really are dying to know how that was done.
Wait, I guess yeah, because it is an illusion. I get. It's pretty silly. We had Erica's torso was on the bar, and then we had someone on a chair behind her in the workshop and in the show. So the woman behind her was sitting on a chair with her leg facing up this way, and then she just like crossed her body behind. So it was
Did a
bent
leg
over-
double.
It was bent over the bar to make it look like it was her leg, and then it's able to do things that a normal body can.
Only in Chicago, baby.
Chicago.
I assume it was the old lady next to the stage. It was her leg that was being used
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dream role.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I know, I'm
People
looking too.
Was there any Evita in Famous as Hell?
Any Evita? Not specifically. I mean, no.
Well, there you go. There's
I'm
your
looking.
answer.
There you go. I know. I'm looking
I
too.
mean, it's kind of it was more superstar kind of than Evita. But I could see with the protest signs, and I could absolutely see why people would think that for sure.
Yeah. And then they also think there's people who also think they hear a bit of Evita in it. I'm honestly, I mean, I know I catch some of these things, but musically, my ear is not as good with that kind of stuff as I wish it was.
I mean, even again, I say this all the time too. I mean, I listen to the songs all the time, and they're like kind of marinating in there, and then I will still hear David or Doug or anyone go, "Oh yeah, well that musical quote is," and I wouldn't even catch it. I mean, I don't know how people are catching these quotes. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, Cinco just posted one today that the key change of Cecily's maybe I want to say maybe this time.
I know, right?
My turn now.
Yeah.
And the key change was from Hopelessly Devoted to You, and I went like, I was like,
Wow.
what? I would heard it a million times, and I would have never caught that. I mean, it's so the eggs are so these eggs are so deep. It's like we don't even know them. I mean, it's amazing the detail. Again, I always say this when I talk about the show, but every department, it's just the level of detail is just incredible.
Yeah, we were just talking about the props department and all the little Easter eggs and all the labels of everything. And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, where you got his sausage casings from, the Men Love. I mean, it's just
Men Love.
like, I mean, you just walk around set and go, wait, really? I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing group of artists, just incredible.
Oh man.
The love for the show, it's quite something.
so we talk about this a bit in our interviews, but so when you're given a number, I mean, obviously when they're this season, like we talked about earlier, there's been a lot of really specific Mine Hair and Magic to do, clear places to start choreographically. Is that a word? I made it up. When it's not a number, especially like season one, or not a really specific song reference, where do you start with trying to come up with these brilliant numbers?
I mean, it's finding the central, because there's always like a central one, I feel that I can like hang on to as a kind of a pole to then like branch out and then pull in lots of references, at least to hang on top of that one. But again, I always say too, not to be like her, but even though it's parody, like there's still story. So I want to make sure that like the storytelling of the number is like Talk to Daddy. It's like trying to convince Dove, and it's like how many different ways can we? So it's always rooted in storytelling, even though it's parody and silly and fun and all that good stuff. But that usually I find a hook in how to tell that story in a funny way, and so then I'll start adding the references on top of it. But That's usually
Somebody asked specifically about the three girls in
The Promises girls.
yeah, which
I love them.
they were great, and it was so funny. They just had so much fun with that. I mean, there was even so much more that was not seen from. I mean, we set the whole number on them, and they got great flex of time. But we had a whole backstory with them that the third was like way over. She had way too many, and so that's why she was always late on certain things because she was a little slower on the uptake, or she wanted another. So it was fun kind of crafting that with them, and like we did a little bit in New York, but then to add it on them in the moment was really fun and explore more ideas. But I mean, even what they were wearing, like I didn't think they were going to be dressed like that. I was like, oh, costumes are amazing. I was like,
yeah.
I thought it was just going to be like three women in a cocktail dresses or something, and then they showed up, and I was like, oh, come on, this is like really amazing. They look gorgeous.
I do love it. What's like in episode 4 or something where Mel asked like, what time period do you think we're in? And he's like, it's very nebulous. And it's like, it really is, because it's at least 100-year period we're looking at in terms of like the subject matter for these shows. So it's so funny to see like those bright, beautiful, colorful 60s girls right next to like Madame Frau. It's just so great.
Isn't that hilarious? And somehow that's why like but it makes sense. Like for some reason you just go with it. It's not like sticks out as being, it's just, it all is this world. It's a
Farrago.
It is.
It is a Farrago. People are talking about like Evita references a lot, and I don't think there have been any, but the thing is, like, I think a lot of Andrew Lloyd Webber shows from that era, if you think like Evita, Jesus Christ Superstar, and Joseph, all that stuff, like they all kind of are in the same part of his history, this milieu. So even like a lot of the Schwartzian songs and the Sondheimy songs in the show they sound like a bunch of different songs, I guess is the point. So like Evita's in there because that's kind of what Andrew Lloyd Webber sounded like at the time. That's what I would think.
Weber's gonna Webber.
I think
Weber's gonna Webber, especially 70s Webber with all his rocking out,
Oh yeah, and it was. I mean, especially those two. I mean, like Superstar and Evita, like they were literally like rock operas. I mean, they were titled. They were titled. So it's there are similarities in terms of like the guitar and the like there are definitely some similarities for sure that aren't in like Phantom of the Opera, let's say. Like that's a complete and like those are very specific, but I think those two being back to back, he was definitely probably feeling that like rock opera vibe and like ran with it. And I love both shows, so I mean,
yeah.
So Cinco Paul has mentioned that he wished he could have worked in The Wiz in this season a little more. What are some shows or some dances or choreographers that you wish you could have done in season 2?
Oh wow, that's a toughie.
Without giving anything away for episode 6, I suppose.
No.
Oh yeah.
Was there? I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a good question. I mean, we didn't really do a lot of Grease. That we did the little tribe circle on the floor.
Yeah.
But there could have been more for maybe like a hand jive type, like bigger production-y thing. But I mean, we covered a lot of ground, I feel, with the ones we had. But also like, always saving some just in case, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard Cinco's idea for how he was going to put in The Wiz?
No.
So he told this at the Apple Store event that I went to. He was going to have them do like basically an Ease on Down with Josh and a few other select members of the chorus, and they'd be like, Melissa, come join in. She'd be like, am I allowed to join in? Oh, like that was going to be the hook of the number. No, she's not sure she should be in this number. But they didn't go anywhere. It was a small set, so they couldn't ease on down the road for more than 10 seconds.
Yeah, there were a lot. I mean, there were some things like, like the Aggie dance in Whorehouse, or like, like definitely, No Bad News from The Wiz. Like there were like when you have such a massive amount of, I mean, the 70s were just like, was exploding clearly. there were so many, but yeah, so I was trying to think. That's probably about the two that kind of stick out to me. Those were the two that I thought like it would have been fun to do a big old like cowboy, you know.
Someone just mentioned the clap in her maybe this time it's my turn now moment. Was that something you threw in there?
Not necessarily. I mean, Cecily just kind of ran with it, and I just kind of gave her a bunch of references. Like that's what I usually send them. Like here's physically like what they did, and if there's something that inspires you when it's not so choreographically driven, you know, it's usually like, oh, just watch this for reference and whatnot.
Yeah,
you want to pull, but yeah. So I think she probably did that.
it feels very Liza to me.
Oh,
right. That thing.
I think she does. I think
she does a
I
little.
feel like, I mean, she's got to do it in the movie at some point, right?
It's in there.
You guys just must have an absolute blast on set.
Well, it's funny, like someone mentioned this, but it's true. Like when she performed that on stage, maybe it's my turn. When we were all in the room, it was just electric, and it was kind of just like watching her do that live, and like what Keegan's face was, like that's all of our faces.
Oh, I know. It's so sweet.
Literally just like busting with pride just because she was just like nailing it and so good. And she's just so good. I mean, I can never get over her. Just, she is so connected to what she does. I mean, you can just see it all over her and in her eyes, and it's real, and it's so beautiful. That's why that sequence was just stunning.
Oh yeah, the whole everything, all I mean, the lighting and how the costume, it was all just
It was
kiss.
it was beautiful, you know. And then it was fun like working with her in the montage, like when she took over, which like I love that she takes over for Dove, Jenny, in the kaput number, but she's still wearing her purple dress. I love that she's still in the dress. It's hilarious. It's just things like that make me just get, you know, we were there when she had to kick the glass out of the guy's hand, and
So funny.
all that stuff, like those matter, and just those memories are just so much fun.
So cool. Well, so tell us every detail you know for season 3. Go. No, I'm just kidding. Oh man. Well, let's see. Who else? I know people have a ton of questions. People are wanting to know from season 1 if there's any shows you wish you could have done a little more referencing.
Well, you know, there was the whole big Dream Ballet conversation.
Now, was that filmed, or did we not even get to that point?
We didn't get to it. It was lame. I mean, it was probably a smart call at the end of the day, because everything was so tight with the first season and COVID, and just like, woo, like thinking about it now, I go, wow, that would have been a feat. And we pulled off a few, but it was really fun. It was really fun. I mean, just the story and kind of taking all of the ballets of the period and kind of mashing them into one. And David Chase wrote the most amazing arrangement, like so good. Yeah, and it was like her dancing with like a dream Danny, and then a dream doctor, and it was just like, you know, picking the right man. It just was so much fun. So I guess like that one, but I mean, there was so many opportunities in season 1. I mean, just the Kristen one shot alone was like it's in like my top 5. And not just because, I mean, for so many reasons. One, because I love her to pieces, and like that she could do that. I still can't get over. But it was like, again, credit to everyone, like watching the entire studio come together, you know, crew and lights and just cameramen like weaving between people. And the thing, like, I wish someone had like a screen cap of like what was actually going on, because like even the very end, I don't know if people noticed, but at the very end, when like they push out a ramp so that Kristen looks like she's like rising above the crowd. If you go back and watch it, she doesn't stay on the same plane. We wanted to do that. Like it was, I forget what movie, it's a Judy Garland movie where it's like, she does this walk and she gets on a crane and the crane like pulls her up and out of the crowd in the movie. And I was like, oh, how do we do that? And they were like, oh, we'll build a ramp. And like, so Kristen actually like at the end of the number, on top of everything else she's doing live, is like, you know, like then like singing these high notes, like walking up this ramp so she can get higher than, even down to that detail, like that clearly wasn't there when, you know, she was walking around the first time. So you see like the crew was like pushing all these things around and moving, and it was unbelievable. Again, credit to like, again, the collaboration of the team. It's just, people were like, and we got it the first shot.
Oh yeah, I read that. That's crazy.
I mean, we
That
did a couple
is
for
insane.
safety. They were like, just in case something happens to it. But like, it just happened. And it was, I mean, a testament to everyone. Like that, it just was one of those groups. It was amazing.
Man.
That's when you hire the Broadway people to do these Broadway jobs. That's what you
Yeah.
get.
It was a special, like like the balloon drop fell and it was just like, cut. Because it was, yeah, it was so cool. It was so cool.
Well, you know, I went to the For Your Consideration event out here in Hollywood, and it was right as the episode 3 had premiered, and so Jane Krakowski was talking to the crowd, and she was talking about how she was like, because she did all the stunts in Bells and Whistles, and she was like, I've always wanted to get better at the trapeze, so there was a trapeze studio next door, and they just completely let me do it. So she just did that because she wanted to, because she can. Like that's, and everyone involved was like, yep, we can solve it. We could do this. We can make this happen. Like always like taking it to the next level and accommodating. Like it's mind blowing.
Oh, well, that's what she said. I mean, one of our first meetings, she's like, well, I mean, I can't just enter on it. It's in. And I was like, really? She's like, yes. And she was like, and I found out there's a school, and like exactly what you said. And, but to the point where it was like, okay. And then we're shooting other things and she's sending me videos of like these tricks that she's doing on the, and it's just like, and I'm so like, Cinco, this is like totally worth it, right? It's like, oh yeah, it's totally worth it. And like, so, and then we had to like, the scenic department had to redesign the entire room from what they had planned, because the hole in the ceiling had to be then, you know, it's one thing if you're just going up and down, but the fact that it had to swing and had to have a point that it could like pendulum from. So the whole room had to be kind of reconfigured, but like, it wasn't even like, oh no, we're doing it. And we just like went off and did what they had to do to make it happen. And it's like that, it's just a dream, you know?
Yeah. Gosh.
So good. So I know we know obviously the main cast, and then a bunch of the dancers and other smaller parts were returning from season 1. What about the behind the scenes crew? Was it almost all the crews and departments from season 1 returning for season 2?
No, that was almost entirely new. It was a different studio. It was a different design team. It was everything. That aspect was new, because it was like, we're definitely going to a new world this season. So it was like, we literally went to a different world. So it was, yeah. So we weren't at the studio we were at the first season. It was completely different. But yeah, but again, great. But in a way, it's, I don't know. I think no matter what you're working on, when you can tell it's something special, you're all in. And I think that's what happened both seasons, regardless of like who was there and who came back or not. I think it's like, but you just kind of like, it's like, wow, this is good. Like or at least we feel it is. And so everyone around you is just all in, and it's great.
That's so cool.
Oh man.
So you mentioned the cut Dream Ballet, or that never happened. Another cut moment from the opening song that is still on the recording. If you listen to the official recording, there's still the pigs
I could
moment in it.
Yes, we shot it. You
shot the pig dance. So in the beginning, there's Buford Riggs, I do unspeakable things to pigs, and in the recording they go pigs, 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 and there's this pigs dance break I keep hearing about, but it was actually filmed.
Yeah, there's a whole, oh my god, that's a reason to do a season 1 recap, because these dancers. Oh my gosh, we had a gymnast who was, I've never even seen them before in my life, spotting back handsprings. We wanted to do kind of like the Seven Brides kind of like,
Yeah.
barn dance thing, and in cowboy boots, just like doing spotting back handsprings. I was like, who even does that? I didn't even know that was a thing. So, but it's captured. It was captured. So
Amazing. Well, there you go.
Bonus footage.
Bonus footage.
Footage,
Season 1
for
recap.
sure.
It's coming.
Mhm.
We'll film it when you get back in the country.
Yeah.
Let's see who else has.
I know, I'm
Sorry.
looking too. Someone asked, is Jane Krakowski a good roller skater? And that was another one of the things she said at the talk back. She was like, I can roller skate blindfolded. It's like, okay. Yeah, you can do it all, babe. She
Yeah,
can do it all.
we definitely knew that from her Starlight. But she was like, but again, in between takes, like just like roller skating backwards, like, could we use this? It's like
I don't know how she's real.
hilarious. It's hilarious.
So let's see. Somebody asked, what? Now, obviously, no spoilers, or we're not asking for any specifics for season 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. But is there any choreography or choreographers from future, decades that you would really love to explore?
Ooh.
Some show specific choreography or choreographers.
That's an interesting question.
Whoever did Newsies, you should definitely copy that guy.
Right. Yeah, he's all right.
I am not above spoofing myself, as you know.
That's
So,
right.
Everyone's fair game. I don't know. It's not. That's why it's not even necessarily like choreographers specific. It's like, it's more about like iconic choreography moments. Like for example, like the Wilhelmina in Will Rogers Follies, like that's iconic. Like there are certain things that are just iconic that somehow the world knows what they are.
Like
So
Turkey Lurkey.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like somehow the world knows the Turkey Lurkey step. So it's things like that. Like it's not choreographers per se. It's the iconic moments from them. So like that usually goes first. Like I usually go, oh, because also it's part of that thing where you want, like there are the Easter eggs that of course like fans in like musical theater, like they will love, because they're like, oh my God, like I did that show, or I did that step when I did that in my high school or whatever it is. But then there are like the broader ones that you kind of want, like maybe people who aren't as involved in musical theater, but somehow are on the zeitgeist of like, oh, but I've seen that. Like if we do that, people probably would know or have seen that in some fashion somewhere. Like I think,
Yeah, like the 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
like the world kind of knows certain moments. So it's kind of also kind of checking those off, because you want it, you want to feel that everyone's kind of enjoying the joke. So
it'll be all cats next season. All the cats.
I'm very
Can you
close.
imagine they just go to a cat's world?
You should do Grand Hotel, the dance of what's his face does with the
Have a
pole.
drink, have a glass
Yeah,
together.
Yeah, they have a glass together, that whole
Oh.
thing.
That's, I mean, again,
Dream Girls, armography. There's so much.
so much. I got all the Bentwood chairs and kaput, so I don't know if I could do that again.
Right.
Happy to.
Yeah.
Let's see, a few people have asked, and I know we cover this in I keep plugging these the interviews, but people are asking about, in my breakdown, I had wondered how many times they bonked heads in Talk to Daddy when they were on the bus and coming together.
Oh,
So
when they're
I know
doing
I
that
asked you guys,
thing.
like, people really want to know about the bonking of the heads. Was there any head bonking going on?
I promise the safety of no, there was no head bonking. They can all attest. They were all, we were very specific about spacing, and because I was like, no one can get hurt. No one can get hurt.
Yeah.
I need every single one of you. So it was, but they were smart and careful performers who took care of themselves and each other. And that's what was also, they knew to be, careful and spatially aware. So
They knew how to do the hair ponytail flip
for
safely,
sure. Yes.
So good. I love that
What was your-
sequence so much.
Oh, the
That
whole
was so much.
those two
Talk to
songs are my
Daddy.
favorite from Charity. I mean, so like them.
Oh my
combined.
God. Yeah.
That was a
So
dream.
good.
Again, the second I heard the song, I dun, 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 I went, no. I got out of my chair and I was like, oh my gosh, I get to do this. I actually get to do this. What's my life? So I mean, that was another dream number. I mean, that was so much fun. And the fact that they let us get as much of that we did in was that was also because we went at it, with the previs, we get like a lot of options, and I was like, I don't know if we're gonna have time to set up for all these shots, but everyone was like, we're gonna get these, and again, like everyone was like, nope, we got it, and there was a momentum to it that I was so happy we got in what we were able to get in, because it was extensive for sure. We did it in like a day, or I mean, it was like
So crazy.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what was your first Broadway show that you ever saw? Or first, not even Broadway show, big, touring or whatever. What was your first big show that you remember
It's
seeing?
so funny you say that. Is Evita.
Aw.
It all comes back to Evita.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Evita. It was because I mean, I did high school productions and that kind of, elementary school productions and all that. But Evita was the first professional show I saw. And I was actually in. That's kind of why I saw it. There were auditions for like the national tour that were happening, and they were getting local kids for the tour. So it was like, basically, I think it was basically because like, oh, well, you're the only young boy that came in, so here. So but that level of like talent and stagecraft, and it like I was, I don't know, 10. Whatever, and I was just like, there was something I was like, I have to do this forever. Like it was it was so magical, and that staging and the performances, and it will like never left my brain. It was just one of those like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life kind of thing.
Amazing. I love it. What was your first big show, Emily?
I can't remember because my mom was a music director. My dad was an actor. So like, it's just kind of one of the, I was going with my dad, like as a baby to like the theater, like it's kind of just one of those things where I couldn't begin to tell you because it was always there. Wow. I'm lucky
so
that
jealous.
way. I know.
Right?
Yeah. Theater folk,
My first Broadway show was it was Jekyll and Hyde with David Hasselhoff.
Yes.
That was my intro, and I'm still a fan somehow of musical theater. But the next day I saw the original Broadway cast of Aida, so that made up for it, at least for me.
Oh, love it.
Oh man,
I love it. My husband just walked in, so I'm trying to like get his attention. I want him to pop in. He come over. He auditioned for you, Chris, back in the day.
Fun.
I don't know. Let me get him over here. He just walked in from work. Jeff, here, come slide in.
I like your jacket there, Chris, too. Oh, so snazzy.
Yay! Here's Jeff, everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Hey,
how's it
good
going?
to see you guys. What's up? I was telling Em, Chris, you remember when you were choreographing the Godspell tour back in 2000?
Oh my God.
And me and Kevin Smith Kirkwood were on the Grease tour. We were rehearsing, so on our lunch break we'd come to some of your callbacks. But I felt like I knew I worked with you because remember they were so intense. There was like a lot of improv, all kinds of fun stuff. Kevin actually ended up booking it.
Yeah.
So he left our tour to do your tour, which we all wanted to do yours more than Grease, but because it was Rachel Hoffman. It was a Rachel Hoffman connection.
Oh my God. And Kevin just was in the Death Becomes Her reading.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh yeah, which
I just saw him.
The Death Becomes Her.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
The world is so
the world is 1 degree. It's 1 degree, especially theater. But that's so cool.
It's good to see you again. Congrats on everything. And then of course, all the other stuff that came after that, Bat Boy and Altar Boys. A couple of my pals were the original Altar Boys. So I was always seeing your work, pal.
Look, Jeff, people are going, yay, Jeff.
Oh. Yeah. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you again, man.
good to see you. I was saying I'm such a fan of yours and your channel and your Schmig analysis. So
Yeah, vice versa, my friend. Vice versa too.
yeah.
What are we talking about? Little schmiggity?
Yeah, the
Little
show,
schmigs?
the
Little
show.
schmiggy.
Little show.
Getting schmiggy with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I never thought of that one.
Well, so one of the other fun things, the other connections, we talked about this in our video, is that Jeff knows Aaron Tveit from way back at doing Rent back in the day. And so it was really cool when we went to the event in Hollywood because my friend was the moderator of the panel. So she got to Tveit backstage and was like, hey, Jeff is going to be here. And so Tveit was so nice and like, it was like, hey man, and like was not blowing off anyone, but it got to the point where they were talking so much that like the photo seekers were like, excuse me. So it was just like really sweet. And he's been like killing it this season. I love how funny they're letting him be. Both seasons, letting him be just like so funny. And he talked about like how much he loves that because he's always playing some broody, angsty guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was saying because in real life he was saying I'm really quirky and kind of weird and like I don't usually get to apply that to the characters I play.
He was great. Oh, he's been great both seasons, and he's a total pro and a sweetheart. Like that's the thing too. Like the cat, they're all really nice people. And that's it.
Yeah.
You can't ask for more than that. On top of being talented and all that, but like at their core, like such good people that makes it all even that's much sweeter.
And one of the things Aaron said that I think really shows how the show's approach, he says we never make fun of musicals. We're not making fun of it. It's sort of like a celebration of, and the way you guys have created it, I'm so impressed. I didn't know that you could do something like that, taking these lampoons of songs, sending them up, but also tell your own story in a really sweet way. So I remember when Aaron said that and I was like, that's what makes the difference because you're not making fun of it. And that's why I think that's why people respond to it so well.
I think absolutely agree with you. And because that's the thing, it's never like jokey. Like that's the thing. It's not jokey. It's like Cinco just has created this world that exists where people sing and dance, but it's truly all out of love. Like that's why we know these references and they're at all of our fingertips is because we love it so much. And we like, I've done Turkey Lurkey a million times in my bedroom. It's like, of course, it's like you have these things at your fingertips, and so it's like it's all done out of love and for these geniuses that created it originally. So it's such an honor to be a part of.
Did you guys? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
Mark.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you guys had already talked about Jane Krakowski.
Yeah, we did.
Jeffy's, okay.
Yes.
I figured you did.
Yes, we did.
I had to jump into bells and whistles. I was just going to say, I use the word, everyone uses it, but parody doesn't seem to be an apt description of what the show does.
Yeah. It's
homage
a new thing.
Is much closer because this really doesn't feel like a parody. It feels
No.
like it's just using the rules of this universe that I don't know all these shows are tied to.
I think that's a joke from Community. Someone says you're doing these little parodies, and then Abed says, well, I prefer to call them homages. You gotta love the thing that you're making fun of, and then it works,
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
I agree totally. Homages, that is kind of the best way to describe it, really.
Yeah.
Another question I saw that actually is a great question. Did Jacqueline and Joyce Robbins, who played the Bernstein twins, did they come up with their own choreography, or was that your work?
No, I think it was a mishmash of like, you're gonna stand here and do this, and then we could do it was one of those like collaboration combo platter, like, okay, we'll just do, because it was tricky because we had to come up with a bed of something for them to do because we were shooting Anne and Jaime from different angles, but there was a mirror behind Anne, so somehow they were always,
you could see they're going the whole number.
They were so funny.
We had to try to do it in something that looked repetitive so that we didn't know what edit was going to be.
Yeah.
So it had to be something that looked like it would make sense that it was still going on and on. So it was a tricky one to like figure out a bed of sequences that, and maybe, I'm not sure, maybe at some point, maybe it does go off, but yeah, it was, the shrugging and things that
Yeah.
maybe in some world it was never that musical, but that was
Well, and it
that was
works
a-
too
that was
because
a-
it's not upstaging. It's kind of just adding to the moment. It's the kind of thing where you don't really pay attention to the first time, and then you watch again. You're like, look at those gals back there, like doing those shoulders. That's hilarious.
yeah.
It's so good. Just checking the.
I know, me
Oh,
too.
pastiche. Pastiche is
Pastiche
another
is a
word.
great word. I
Oh,
love
that's
using
great.
that. Pastiche is great.
Great.
Yeah.
So I have a question. Who have you not really gotten to work closely with main cast wise that you would hope in a future season to really get to work with and have dance a little bit more?
It's been pretty hands-on with all of them. I mean, it's been cool because the shift has been different. Like Jane was so fast last year, but this year we got a lot of time together. Then last year, like I had a lot of time with Cecily and Keegan because of their final number in season one, and they were in a lot, woven through more numbers. Like they're I'm blanking on the name, suddenly. So we had to dance with them in that, but then this year was a lot less. So it was kind of like the balance has been, so I was able to kind of spread it around with all of them and get to know them, which was really great.
Well, I know
Yeah.
that
Seemed that way.
Ariana DeBose this season was only available for like 3 days or something because she's an Academy Award winner now. She's a little busy. So, but she's obviously such a pro. Like just the couple numbers she's been in, it's just you would never know.
Oh yeah, I mean, just coordinating, busting out with like their schedules and just getting, and again, it's like they're chained together and all that good stuff. It was like really finding that window. But again, they're all such pros. They're all so good, and they do it.
Yeah. I want to ask about the little kids.
That's what I was going to ask. I was just
I
about to ask
love
that.
the little kids. Those have to be little Vancouver kids, right? Because they have no Hollywood sheen on them whatsoever. And I mean that in the best way.
Yeah.
Like there's times where I can see them looking off camera, maybe for their cue to dance, but it's like, I'm sorry, I'm a performing arts teacher and it's like my life and it's so, so cute. And I love all them. Can you talk about them a little bit? They're amazing.
They were amazing. And I will say this too, their parents were amazing. Like that's what I felt was so, the kids were, and I'm sure, it's like, we had such limited time with them because not only because of union, like they work less hours, but then they also have to do school because it was during the school, period. So they had to do hours for school and COVID. And like there were so many things. I was like, oh my gosh. But that's it. We even season one, the kids, same thing. They were all from Vancouver too this season. The parents were especially helpful in getting the material out to them in ways that like we would teach them and they were great and amazing, but it was in such quick like dollops that we could get them. But the parents were like, we got this, and like they would take them home and they would always come back in the next day better. And so it was kind of like, it was like kudos to the kids and kudos to the parents because they both were, I mean, they literally made that number work. It was so, I mean, we were saying like they're tossing plates to each other. I mean,
my God.
these kids were, I mean,
Doing their little soft shoes. Oh.
Yeah, and they were living in it. Some of them were just
And then
living
Turkey
in it.
Lurkey, they were so cute doing that.
Yeah, Chris, this is so impressive. Like knowing, how little time you have, but that you also have to do the ensemble numbers and choreograph all those, and so you're probably in Vancouver a lot longer than most others. I just imagine your schedule is pretty hectic.
it's pretty tight. Well, the good thing is it's hectic, but it's, because it's not just dance numbers,
Yeah.
so they're off filming, something in Dove's apartment or in the junkyard or whatever. I'm still working. I get to work. So I can keep my room going, and it's constantly like, okay, who's free? Who's free? Who's free? So it's great because every time is all the time is used and used well. And, so thanks to a great production team, but they really make use of every amount of time and every bit of like not going into overtime and making sure that performers are taken care of, but at the same time maximizing their time so that when they get to set, they feel confident and look good. And again, the same thing with the set, even with that, with, we had to make sure the tables were specific length for the kids to be able to do their tricks on, and wide enough so they felt comfortable and stable, and the benches and like there was, at certain point they had to like drill the tables into the floor because they're wooden tables, and to make sure the kids felt safe on them.
Yeah.
Great. But then
Yeah.
move them because you had to get the crane in and out to get certain shots. And this and that. So then like they had to undrill the tables so that they could open. I mean, it was just that, it was like, the machine of it all was so, it's never not impressive. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean,
and it's wild too with them being kids, and there was tumbling in there. Didn't I see like a back handspring into a forward tuck or something? Like there was a lot going on there.
Yeah, they were. I mean, and that was the funny thing. That was like a lot of the kids could tumble this year. So because that was one of my main things going into this, I was like, oh gosh, how do we make this different, than last year? Because it was so like kids tap dancing on desks was like, it's a very specific thing. And I was like, sure, we could make them tap again, but I was like, oh, I don't like, it'd be nice to go to a different well and not feel like we're doing the same thing. And so luckily, like a lot of the kids could do gymnastics, and it was like great. And so we were able to pull that and made the number feel so completely different. At the same time, pay the homage to Annie, that like, because those back in the original film, I mean, those kids were working their butts off. I mean, and so it's kind of like, great, let's take a page out of that and like use that as the kind of inspiration. So they were doing like, because I always would think like, is it justified? Like, why are they doing this at the same time? It's like they're so thrilled they're gonna, make a soup and so it's like, of course they would tumble,
Yeah.
So, but
they're hungry.
They're hungry, so it's but it also
musical.
did like, it was like kind of paying homage to Annie and and Oliver and the physicality in that. And so it kind of just felt like it made sense, and that I felt like it landed in such a nice place, and having it feel like its own thing and not like dipping into the same pot again. So I was really happy the way like all of it all kind of aligned.
Amazing.
So do you have time for a couple more questions? I know you're super busy.
Sure, I'll do a couple more.
Oh, Jess from Musicals with Cheese is
Hey,
here.
what's up, Jess?
Hey, Musicals with Cheese, another great YouTube.
Hello.
He asked how long does an average episode take? How long does an average episode take to shoot?
It's different because we shoot out of order depending on like what location we're in. So it's not. I mean, the whole all 6 shows were shot in about 8 weeks. So all 6 episodes, it was about like an 8-week process and shoot. So it was I don't know what that, like a week and a half per episode, maybe.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Chris. One, did you ever think that you would be choreographing something like this? And 2, is it a choreographer's dream?
Yes and yes, like because it's one of those. It's like when Cinco reached out and he was like, I have this idea I'd love to talk to you about. I was like, wait, and he told me what it is. I was like, wait a minute, is this really happening? Is this like it's like a dream? It's not even a dream you could aspire to. It's not even like, oh God, I wish there would be a TV series one day that would like parody like the thing I love to do most. Like it's it's kind of like that's not even on the oh I wish list. It's like, and then it creates this world and it's like, oh my God, like it's a total dream come true. I mean, it's the like, I feel like the luckiest. And I said, especially the first year, it was during the pandemic. I mean, we shot during the pandemic, and especially like knowing that like theater essentially, because any group got like everything was shut down. So I felt like, we had like talks with the cast about it, feeling like in a way, like being like representatives of like, what, like a lot of people can't do what we're doing right now. Like, let's really like enjoy every second of this. And I think that's part of the love that kind of comes through the series, is like feeling so grateful to be a part of this, back then and now. It's just to get to be a part of something like this is such a, just being grateful and that it first that it just exists, but then to be able to be a part of it is
Yeah.
a dream come true. It's
Yeah, I absolutely gushed to Cinco about this because I as I mentioned earlier, I just didn't think that this had never occurred to me. Kind of like what you were just saying, you can't really aspire to it; it just wasn't out there yet, you know. But obviously, people love it so much, and I think that's because, like, if you had told me about this concept before I saw Schmigadoon, it'd be like, oh, I'd be kind of worried to see if somebody could pull this off, you know? But then it's about how you do it and who he brings in, and he surrounded himself with the perfect creative team, the perfect cast. We couldn't ask for anything more. So thanks.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad people, that's the thing. It's like, I'm happy people are responding to it. Cause we're in our little, literally bubble, and so we're like, okay, I hope this is good.
Yeah.
You just don't know. You think you feel it, but then to have the love and support shown is just, it makes it that much more special that people are, enjoying what you also thought is something special. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Cinco said that what people always say is, I feel like you made it just for me. I feel like you guys are making it just for me. And then he was like, I made it just for me too, because he loves it as well. So it's cool that everybody can celebrate that.
Yeah. We gushed at him at the
I pulled it together. No, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun hanging out with him. He's very cool. Obviously, but yeah.
Sweet, the most humble and sweetest man on earth. I mean, and the thing is that's, I'll tell you, I mean, I think this is the secret sauce, but like the reason why the show is, at least I feel is because it has heart. Because that's the thing. We're not just making fun. Like there is deep heart in these shows, and that's Cinco. That is his, like, he's all heart. So I mean that's why I think it is a success, or whatever, that people enjoy. I don't even say success because it's different things, but that people respond because I think you really do feel a connection with these people. You really do with these characters. You are rooting for them, and it's because they want something real. They want like a lot of the themes in this season, and they're things that people can also connect to, not just on the musical theater level, but it's like real life situations. And I think he tapped into something that has a lot of heart, that happens to be surrounded by this amazing idea, but his heart is it's all over it.
Yeah, 100%. And I feel like it's so brilliant having these characters, Josh and Melissa, be our guide, because I feel like if you love musicals, you can identify with Cecily's character, Melissa, and ride the wave. Or if you're not a fan of musicals, you are, but you just don't know it yet.
You just don't know you are.
You get in through Josh's way, and by the end, I think everyone's been converted, because musical theater wise, it's brilliant, but also just as a comedy, it's hysterical.
Yeah.
And there's so many jokes that are just jokes about theater or like the biz, not even just like musical theater references, like Topher being like, I'm gonna do a parable, can I have a suggestion? And like Mel saying, I have a 12-show day tomorrow. Like all those little jokes that are like, oh my god, even if you get theater a little bit, what.
No, I was gonna say, when Mel comes in to see Josh and life is literally hanging in the balance, and she's like, I got the gig, can you believe it? I got, and he's like, what now? But as a performer, you get that, because sometimes those callbacks, they shouldn't be life or death, but they feel like they are, No,
that's, and also the rhyming.
No, the imperfect rhyme,
Perfect rhyme. Hilarious. I mean, come on.
And then Josh, when you're at the show and you're like, wow, you guys really did it.
Oh yeah, you were up there. Yeah.
We've all been there too.
We've been on both sides.
It's a part of it. It's a part of it.
Yes.
So someone asks, this might be a good final question if you have to run. What's your favorite joke, piece of choreography, or sight gag from this season? Choose just one only. Chris Catelli. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm kidding. No, I know. I mean, I say it because it was the kind of, I mean, the leg joke.
The leg. The girl there, he was explaining the leg behind her.
I think it's because it was the first joke I thought. They say joke. It was the first I thought funny idea I had for the season. Because when I read the big spender moment, the homage, I was like, oh well, one of them has to be draped over with the leg that then like because I could only get away with this in Schmigadoon, Chicago /
Yeah.
like I couldn't even do that on stage. I mean, maybe in some fashion, but like you can't do that on stage like the way it was shown there. So I was that's one of my favorites, I think.
Were you so
And
happy they used it in the trailer?
Yeah, that's what I'll say too. Yeah, your shot made the trailer.
And we weren't gonna do it. Like it was like that. It was like, really, that might be going too far. But then to like we captured it, and I was like, oh God, I hope it makes the show. And then when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh my God, yes! I was so happy. I was like, oh, good.
Yeah, that reminds. Well, you mentioned earlier how it in the way it's different from theaters. You have to kind of put it out there, and then months later, once it gets edited, you get the response. Not like in theater where you get it right away. So that must be a little nerve-wracking.
It's like, I mean, slightly, but the great thing is like this team, like again, and it's mostly for efficiency and like wanting to, is we would shoot previs and we would send it out to the team. And then we would get notes back like, oh, that dance break feels too long, or oh, that we won't be able to put a camera there because of X, or so we would get notes and then like re-choreograph it and re-edit it and resubmit it. So that way, like when we get on set, it's like everyone pretty much knows what the number is going to look like and what I mean, to a certain, to like 90% degree, which is great. Like Naked, that was one of the ones this season. So
funny.
I mean, but that was the one that I honestly didn't, because it ended up being one of those like fancy got it. When as the song kind of got more and more momentum, they wanted like quicker shots. It was literally kind of like, go run out in the field with the streamers and do jetés and come over here and like pull your sock down and the girls make a little thing, So it was very much like just go for broke, and then like in the edit we'll make it match.
Yeah.
The DP was like, oh yeah, I have this great like kaleidoscope filter I could put on the lens, and we could do so it was literally kind of just like we knew the bones leading up to the exciting, the exciting part towards the end, and then it was kind of like I knew it was going to be kind of just a big mashup of like fun visuals that they captured. But yeah, it's definitely different when you don't know. But for that one, that was a fun surprise for sure. It was great to see how much they got.
Yeah.
There's a great plugging away that interview for you tomorrow. There's some great previous footage of a failed parachute that almost made its appearance in the show. Yeah, that's fun.
Like the big parachute that everyone holds. Yeah, like at recess.
Parachute that we
that almost made it.
A moment. Very short-lived, but and that's why at the end of the day, like so much better for it. Like it you just go, yep, that's why everyone is like, yep, all best idea wins, and like, yeah, so good.
I love it.
Awesome. Well, I just feel bad. I don't want to bogart all your time. Are you happy? I mean,
that's all good. I appreciate
Bogarted.
No, I appreciate chatting. We all know how much I love the show, so I'm happy to always, talk about it and those who make it, because it's a special group.
Yeah, and they're lucky to have you too, Chris.
For sure. Let's see. KCast Reviews, another great YouTube channel, asked, what was the most technically difficult song to pull off this season?
Oh man, that's a good question. I mean, technically, I guess on every level, it was probably Talk to Daddy, because of the time constraint. Like it was like we had to get it like, and it was in a way, it was a weird way, like it was either all or nothing, because it's like because of the way the shots were starting to build, it was like we had to commit at a certain point to like we were getting these all in, or it's going to feel, the balance is going to feel weird. So technically, on just a time level, it was, and all the different setups and shots, that was technically the hardest, because it just took a lot of like precision and like being efficient and like, we got it, go, like, and so it was that was the toughest in terms of just overall, like it was a lot of setups for that number.
Was it Talk to Daddy or Naked where they do the flips and the over the camera, the different people, Warren and
you gotta Talk to Daddy.
Yeah.
That was so much fun.
I mean, the same thing. And it was like, okay, we just like, we set the camera on and it was just like, go. We made a line, go. Go. I mean, it was like, and then it was, I had no idea. And then they got that one. I still can't get over that shot of Warren, like that his face, like you
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's like
couldn't-
looking.
I couldn't have-
Yeah, while he's flipping, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I couldn't have said like, "Oh, I'd love a shot for someone doing an aerial with their face," like, and it just happened to catch. Like it just happened to. He was in the right air, at the right time at the right.
Mhm.
I mean, because that is just like kind of amazing that that was like that specific. But you get lucky,
So good.
Jeez.
Mm.
Those dancers, I tell you.
Any other questions?
I'm sure they're.
You know, I'm trying to keep track of these comments. Everyone's just loving hearing Chris.
Someone's like, they weren't really naked, were they?
Oh.
No,
It's not hair on stage, people.
know.
You gotta do it on stage, but
Yeah, they were very well protected. Everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, someone says if you could put yourself into a number from season 1 or season 2, which would you want to be in?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, talk to Daddy for sure. I mean,
You
For
want to
sure.
you want to be the ponytail flipper, right?
Yeah.
for
That's
sure.
I mean that's what I would choose to be.
Absolutely. I mean, I would want to like occupy. It would be a solo. Basically, it would have been a solo. No.
There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Do
absolutely.
the Ben Vereen,
No,
Mhm.
all
the three
all
guys
jump ropes and
solo.
all yeah. No, if that would have been a fun one for sure. And then season 1, I would have wanted to be in Corn Pudding for sure.
Well, yeah.
Were you surprised that the sonic boom that Corn Pudding made in the world? I mean,
No.
that took off.
No, that was to this day. I mean, and the fact that they reference it in season 2 is just so hilarious. But no, it was one of those, like, oh, this is a fun little. It wasn't even a throwaway. It was just kind of like, oh, well, this will be a fun one to have, fun with in terms of like, oh, cut 2, like who knew?
Emmy nominated,
like, Corn
you
Pudding,
Yeah, right?
it was like
Change
what
the
is
world.
happening? Yeah, it's like, what's happening? Why is Corn Pudding trending? I have no idea. No, so funny.
I think everyone in the world that heard about Corn Pudding for the first time
Mhm.
it's because of that number, and then probably tried it. I've tried it since. It's actually really good. You should make some corn pudding, y'all.
Yeah, let's go make some.
It's good. It's like a cornbread.
Did
Yeah.
Chris? Did Em ask you about when Tveit walks over the chair? Was that anybody's idea?
Oh
No,
no!
in the confrontation.
In the last episode, the sour macaroon thing, he walks
Oh.
towards Josh and
Just
walks
goes
on the
over the
couch,
chair.
and I just think I don't know why it made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, I did not. That could have been him. I
Yeah.
was not there. That I was.
Oh yeah, of course.
I was rehearsing the kids. Okay.
Yeah.
For sure.
What would you want to? Someone says, which season would you want to be adapted into a live stage show? Would you want to see Schmigadoon live or Schmicago live, or I think Act 1 and Act 2 of a show?
Yeah, you can't really do one without the other, can you?
Yeah, I would do Act 1 and Act 2.
Done. Easy.
Let's do it.
Yeah, just I would do Act 1, Act 2, but it's.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
We
think if
still know how
Schmigadoon
it
live
ends.
came to New York, I think people would unfollow me in droves because it would become my entire personality. I would be so annoying about.
It would become your
Live.
entire personality.
Yeah, it really
Not-
would.
oh my god, no, that would be. I mean, yeah, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? My god.
Have you ever had to? You've never had to do any of these in any live setting, right? They've never been recreated for anything.
No, I don't think so.
You did
No.
that playbill. There's a great playbill video of you showing how to do the corn pudding choreography, which is a fun video. But yeah, I didn't know if you'd had to stage anything for.
No,
Well, let's do it.
I'm trying to think. No, I don't think we have. No.
Is it cool to see your choreography shot so well with like creative? I mean, the DP, we got to speak to him, John.
John,
Sorry.
yeah, John Joffin.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he was a great guy. He was explaining. I was curious about a lot of that stuff too, but the specific shots that they get and how the way they edit it adds to your choreo. I mean, how's that feel?
it's amazing. I mean, that's the thing, to have such care being taken up, like it's because we're standing there watching it off to the side, and you're watching him like frame this stuff, and it's like, oof. Like I one of my favorite shots he got, and I still like, it was just, I mean, it was partly him because they're tracking the sun and when the sun's in what place to get the right best light, natural light and shadows and all that. There's that shot in Talk to Daddy of them on the pickup truck with the dun, 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 dun. I call
The
it
tambourine.
called it like the kind of like kaleidoscope moment. And but just the angle that he got it with the natural sun like coming through from behind, like so that when as the fabrics were going up, it was like that shot to me is just like one of the most amazing. It just was so beautiful, and he just nailed it, and just with like sun in the right position, like the whole thing was just, yeah, he captured so many beautiful shots for sure. I mean, and we were like watching them on the monitor, like, oh my god, like the opening number. I still like, it feels like it's been a year since like
Yeah.
Chicago happened, but like some of the shots in that are just, it's amazing to me, just with the even just the light bouncing off the wet pavement, like just like that color and adds to the saturation of it, and it's stunning. It's so beautiful.
Which did you shoot first this season? If I know you did it out of order, what was the first big number that was filmed?
I think it might have been. I think it was for the ensemble and the cast. It was I think it was Welcome to Chicago, actually, because that was the first time I had seen any of them in any of their looks. That was so freaking cool, because especially this year, so they're all like coming out of their trailers, and it's like,
It looks so different.
Like
who made your jaw drop the most?
They're wearing their little vests and their little, all of the big
good.
frilly dresses, and then this year it's like, oh my, like one after another will come out. And it was like, what is happening? I mean, amazing.
We can talk all day long about how cool the concept is, but I think Cinco deciding to sort of bring back a core group of actors that just play different parts, and there are two leads are the only ones that remain the same. That is really cool. That's like an interesting sort of another homage to the theater in general. But
they're repping the Schmigadoon repertory players.
Yeah, only this time we're filming it. It's another just example of what a great concept he had from the start.
Yeah. I mean, when he said he was going to do that, it was like, oh my gosh, are people going to buy it? And then the second they go, Mr. Mayor, and he looks over his shoulder, and you're like, oh man, like it absolutely works. Like you just you're in, and what's happening, and it only adds to their confusion, and it just, all of that. It was like, so smart, so smart.
Let's see. Oh, Kaz, a great Schmiga fan, asked if you could, another interesting but difficult question, if you could pull in a performer for season 3 to join the cast, who would you might want to pull in?
Holy cow.
That's a hard one.
That's really hard. I mean, oh my goodness. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. When we did the season, it was like, oh, everyone's returning, like, yay. And then it's like, oh, and we're adding Patrick Page and Titus. It was like, oh, wait, what? I mean,
yeah.
It was like, oh.
Yeah, you're like, no, seriously?
And then it's like, made it even like more amazing. It was like, oh my gosh, I would have no idea. I mean, because that's the thing. There are so many talented people out there.
Just grab somebody else from Hadestown. Another original.
Right.
Just bring them all in.
Andre DeShields.
Andre DeShields. That's it. That's it. We've answered the question.
Yeah,
I say Bonnie Milligan.
Bonnie Milligan.
Kimberly Akimbo.
It could be a great contest. I mean, oh my god.
Just get Patty LuPone. Just get Patty. She's done with Broadway anyway. Come on, TV.
Actors will do that. Even the big
Patty
names
LuPone.
will do that. Everybody wants to be a part of it.
Did you see that article, Emily, about Patty LuPone?
The one where she's like, I'm never going to do theater again?
No, she said she claimed, and I'm sure you're no comment on this. Oh, you said you had never heard of this, that Patty LuPone claimed that she wanted to be in Schmigadoon and approached the producers, and they told her she was too old and she couldn't be in the show.
Come on, there's no way.
There's
no way.
Way.
There's no
I mean,
way,
unless she
Patty.
wanted to be Betsy in season 1, like.
There's no way. There's no way they'd be like, Patty LuPone, pass.
So, I mean, with all due respect to Miss LuPone, that's a load of fiddle faddle.
Come on. Come on, Patty.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's pretty funny though. God.
Jen Colella, that's another good suggestion.
What's
Oh,
that? What's that?
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, there's anyone. I feel like most people working.
Oh, they
I mean,
they referenced Sutton
everybody's dead
Foster
now.
this season, so you could get her in next season and be like, that actually is Sutton Foster. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Really
She
get
has
really
to be in
meta with
everything.
it. Yeah.
It really yeah, totally. Oh my god. Yeah, there's so many. That's the thing. There's so many talented people. Like it's even hard to just to stick with this group. I mean, there's so many talented people.
Chris, did you think that there would be this much JCS this season? Like the superstar nods?
I did.
They
I had
they
no
just keep
idea.
coming back.
I had no idea. I mean, but it's perfect. Like how it works out in the story is perfect. That mashup. Now, I mean, because you can't talk about certain things, but that mashup in episode 5 is when he was trying to explain what was happening. Even I'm like, I'm still not quite sure I understand. And then when it's all put together, you go,
Yeah.
that happened. Like that actually happened.
Yeah,
I mean,
famous as hell.
Musically, I was like,
ugh.
how did someone figure? I'm like, how did he figure it out?
Yeah.
And again, he could tell me like over and over, or I could try even playing it. But it's not those performers and hearing it in those octave, and you just know, when you finally hear it, you go, oh my, like, I
Yeah.
don't know how
Well,
he even came up with that.
Yeah.
And even Angela Weber doesn't do that very. I don't. He never does that. Like the Act 1 finale style,
with singing over each other?
layering of everyone's theme on top
Yeah.
of each other. It's not really what he does very much. But like having that in this just worked so well. And then of course, the cherry on it was, I'll drink to
I'll
that
drink to
gal.
that.
And I just.
Does anyone wear a
And
hat?
she
or what
keeps
does
saying, she sings that, does anyone wear a hat? And she sings like
Everybody
everybody
does. Yeah,
dies.
and she says, and no one wears a hat.
Yeah, no one wears a hat.
I was glad she got
Obsessed.
something more to do. She got at
Obsessed.
least 2 more lines.
Karen
Oh.
Carnival.
She's
Hilarious.
so great.
Hilarious.
Yeah, and we haven't, of course, we don't know how it ends yet, but you do, Chris. So no spoilers.
No, I'm not. Nope. I'm
Not that you ever would. I'm just.
Well, I mean, one of the things on this live chat is to talk about conspiracy theories for the finale. And obviously, Chris, you can't comment because but a lot of people think that Joanne, I'll drink to that lady, is going to be Dooley Blight's wife.
She's the beggar woman, essentially.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that lines up. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I
But
cannot.
that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. Or she's
Another
just
fun
the
one
Kenny
is
from
that-
South Park.
Yeah, exactly. Another fun one is that Topher will be Krat's son.
Oh.
I mentioned in like my episode 1 or 2 breakdown that Josh has a line like, "Oh, you're a rich white boy," and I was like, "Where did he get
Yeah.
rich from?" I was like, "Maybe he's Krat's son."
He did say that, and how could he have known that? And that's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if there's going to be any musicals that we haven't really dug into yet that are going to be there in episode 6. Or composers. Like, I feel like there hasn't been very much Hair. I don't know if there will be. I think the most was Glitty Glop Gloopy Rizzo Cha Cha Duty.
Yeah, I think it's been more the aesthetic of Hair.
It's more the
than the
with like
music.
with the God spell, it's more digging into, which makes a lot of sense. What other? Oh, we were saying that there's speculation that the narrator could be a grown-up Carson from season 1, the little boy. So
interesting.
that's another theory.
Yeah.
Are there any others we've heard of?
Let's see. I wrote
Mel
down
gonna
some.
dance.
Yeah, Jaime has to dance.
He secretly wants to dance. You
He's
could
gotta
tell.
bust out.
And he had that line. He said, "You're very lucky that you get to dance at the club. Not everyone who wants to gets the opportunity." He's straight up said that. So anyway, I think he's. Gonna bust
I'm
a
right.
move.
I'm right with you there, Jeff. I think he's gonna have a big moment.
Mhm.
A lot of people think that Krat is gonna turn out to be more Daddy Warbucks and adopt the orphans.
We're like torturing.
I mean, like, I was
Sorry, Chris, we're
4, but then
torturing
like
you.
he's like whipping himself over Melissa
Yeah, I
and Tulpa, so like, do
I
we
think
want
it's more
that?
likely Miss Codwell because she's being, she got won over by the ribbon, and I think she's gonna become nice somehow.
Although I said in my breakdown, there's a bunch of meat that he's butchering in that last episode. There's blood all over his shop. So are we
With
sure he didn't
sawdust.
kill a few of them already?
It
Yeah,
was practice. He was just practicing.
Just saying.
Practicing.
maybe it was Elsie. Maybe he has Elsie, and he's like, "Well, waste not, want not."
I say check on Francois because
Oh, little
Well, wait,
Francois.
Chris, was there a moment when you're like, okay, so we're really gonna talk about killing orphans?
Oh, absolutely. When I read it, I was like, well, I will never work again.
Yeah.
To be a really
There's
good
a lot
number.
of trust.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh, here we go.
Like, this is either gonna land or no, it's gonna land. But yeah, that's what I'm just curious because like you say, it's like you got to kind of put it out there and hope that people think it's as funny and get it the way that you do.
No, that really truly, when I read this, I was like, but it's the slow burn. Like
Yeah.
I experienced the same slow burn that everybody else did. I was kind of like, oh boy, oh man. I was like,
Yeah.
they're
it's
singing
like
and dancing.
they're not really good. Oh,
Was
no,
there, like,
Exactly
oh,
what it was like.
How do I do this? I was like,
I know.
And so did you have to request? You're like, it'd be great. Can we get like a giant serving tray big enough for a small child?
Oh, little kid,
God, with the apple in her mouth.
so cute.
I mean, yeah, that was a fun puzzle.
Uh-huh. All good things have their challenges, right?
Woo! I was like, oh, this could go so.
Yeah.
But no,
But you nailed it. You nailed it.
no, thank you.
Okay.
They nailed it. Oh my God.
So
Oh, yeah.
when you're working through the dances, I mean, Cinco obviously writes the music, and you have Doug Besterman doing the dance arrangement. I believe he does the dance arrangements. Yeah.
And David Chase, they all, it's a team of them.
Gotcha. When you need, I mean, is there like, oh, I need 8 more counts here, or like I know in the theater there's a lot of that, but in the film and TV world, are you able to get more music? I mean, obviously cutting music in sections is a little easier, but like, what kind of wiggle room is there when choreographing?
Yeah, I mean, there actually is more than I thought there would be, because David Chase normally, like he would write the dance breaks with me, and then Doug usually orchestrates. I mean, I know they do a lot more together on collectively on their end, but what we would do is if it's like, if I had to go to Vancouver and I wasn't like done with a section or something, we would just put in like a thump track just to like, oh, there's still an idea here that we have to flesh out and that we could get back to, or in the moments like, oh, we could do this. They would like either record it and get it into the track, or we would just do a thump and keep it in time and know that like in the edit, it'll be supported by music that David would then write, or Cinco or whoever would come together to do that. But it was actually more flexible than I thought, because because once it's captured on, it's captured, but with the way they edit things, like for example, like part of the dance break from Shock You got cut from like what we filmed that back to season 1, the opening number, like Pig's dance break got cut, but it's in ways that like, if you know, because you happen to know, but if you don't know, you would never think. So they do a really great job with the editing in terms of that, in terms of, making the piece feel connected and whatnot. But definitely more flexible than you think.
There you go.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm amazed with what they could do. You were talking about the set being changed for Jane swinging, and I mean, that's pretty extraordinary. And we talked before about how in the theater world, that's with technology and hydraulics and all that. It's almost easier to do that change stuff, and in the film world than on stage, which you think would be flipped.
For sure. I mean, that's the thing. It's again on Broadway, live theater anywhere. It's like if you have a set that's flexible and you aren't married to like a big hydraulic staircase coming out of the floor or something like that, you can have a little more play. But when sets are so integral to the storytelling or movement of that particular production, you are kind of stuck with it in terms of like, well, now you have to, if you're not happy with an idea, you have to figure out a way to make something work. But
Mm.
but yeah, with TV, it's a little, you do have, it is a little more, in film, it is a little more forgiving, and you can like, okay, we'll shoot something else today while we fix this up for tomorrow and come back to it, or there are ways to navigate it a little differently.
Yeah,
For
John
those
was,
of you-
he
go
was
ahead.
even telling us. Sorry, he was even telling us. John, the DP, was telling us about that trapeze scene. They had.
Yeah, we
they
were
got-
talking.
You guys
We
already
did,
talked about.
yeah.
They moved some of the set pieces away
Yeah.
to get better shots because she was going for it so well, and you guys really like kind of expanding it. So it's like this collaborative thing.
Oh, for sure. And there was a wall. That's why there was a wall. I think for one shot, I think it was one shot, but like after she did the number, we got as much as we could. Alice, the director at the time, was like, I really want to see her like come up to the jury box. So a wall that we'd never shot from, because we were again trying to be efficient. It was either like towards the judge, away from the judge, towards Josh and Melissa, and then we knew the other, for the pendulum, we wanted to get the trapeze shots from that direction, and that was it. Like we tried to really be good about, and then a close up on her and Keegan, but that was a specific thing. But she came back a full separate day just so they could remove that wall, so they could get the shot of Jane coming towards the juror box, because if you watch it, like there's never a shot from that angle like anywhere, but it was one day just to get that shot. And that's the kind of like, wow, like amazing, thank you. Like I was like trying to sculpt it so we didn't have a lot of like shifts to make, because we knew we had so much we wanted to capture with her. So I was trying to be also efficient in like what, like, oh, we could shoot this and like get these passes, and so I didn't even think about that side, and it was like, oh no, it's worth it, like let's do it. And like that, it's that kind of thing. And then so like, the crew comes in, they're like undoing a wall and resetting it's amazing.
Yeah, I didn't think about how that's so much different from what we're used to on stage, where you are limited by the set. But in this type of show, once you get what you need, you're going to take the set down anyway. So you might as well. It's okay if you move things around a bit. You already got the main shots.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
It's such a. I mean, people ask which I prefer. I really truly do love both, but that's part of the fun about TV and film is trying to capture as much as you can with efficiency. So, it feels exciting and it's telling the story and getting what you need, but also knowing that time, it's like, okay, we turn around for a different setup. It's going to take an hour. Like there goes an hour of your day, like just cause. And so you have to factor that into like, at least I try to do that in my planning, because it's like, time is precious and in trying to get the best shot. So that also goes into, kind of sometimes the makeup of the shots because of just time. That's why I talked to Daddy. I go back to that, but it was a real feat of everyone's kind of excitement about wanting to capture what we tried in the room here in New York. Because that's kind of, we were like just throwing like pie in the sky, like this would be great if, but
Yeah.
we really went for it. It was really cool.
So you've done lots of TV and film work besides obviously extensive theater. You did No Dames in Hail Caesar. Do you have a favorite film and TV project?
Schmigadoon was that number.
Nice.
Mhm.
I love that
Wow.
number. Yeah, amazing.
Cinco was like, oh, I'm doing this. That's why, because it was the same era, and he was like, oh, I like that it was like you shot head to toe, really long takes. It looked like it was like right from the era. The way we had to like comb out everyone's technique so they didn't look too perfect and all that kind of stuff. And so that's what that number got me. Just Schmigadoon.
You cameoed in that too. You can see yourself in that too a little bit. I see you there.
Yeah, that's another deep Easter egg.
Right.
Talk about meta. I play the choreographer in a movie I choreographed.
Right. So
Yeah.
was there any
So Fosse.
was there any other fun TV or film dances that stick out to you that you've gotten to do?
Well, there's one coming up for sure. Isn't like broadly like, I don't know, but I tell the few people, but I'm choreographing the Wonka movie with Timothy Chalamet and Olivia Colman that's coming out this Christmas. So there are quite a few numbers in there that are pretty exciting. Like on a level that it just it really challenged, like talk about blue skying ideas. It was kind of like make anything happen, and it's kind of like, and it was a really beautiful, luckily, I mean, I knock on everything, any kind of wood. Beautiful process with lovely people, and he is a dream. I mean, amazing work ethic and lovely human being, and so that I'm excited just because it's a whole different kind of thing. So there's numbers in that are pretty that I have a nice big fondness for, just because same kind of thing. Like it was like, oh, this can happen in this number, and like we like the sound of that, we'll do it. And it's kind of like, wow, it's really cool.
And that's big budget.
Well, that's pretty exciting. Can't wait for that. I love that you said that you love both mediums equally, because they really are sort of extensions of each other. I'm talking about theater and film. Like, especially, the only thing that's different is logistics, but your concepts behind the song are going to be the same. It's just a different way of exploring it.
That's why I always say it's always about storytelling, and then like storytelling first, and then funny, happy, sad, like, and then you branch off. But it's like, as long as you keep the story moving forward, I talked about a long time ago, like you just have to keep, like, don't ever let them sit, like just keep telling the story, and then you branch it out. But on stage, it's like the fun challenge is making the audience watch what they need to watch, like just for storytelling purposes. Like if you're doing a big ensemble number, but like, something's getting passed off that's an important plot point, like you want to make sure that like you can like have the focus on stage so that the audience knows like where to watch in the storytelling of a big number, or and in film it's fun because it's the opposite in terms of like, I want to start on the little, the foot, and then like work the way up the leg, and then the reveal of a costume then, and like you get to storytell in different ways in a different, it's still the same box essentially. It's all in a frame of some sort.
Yeah.
So just how it's like, how do you use that frame? And that's I love both, because it's
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So cool.
And how many Fosse Easter eggs are in the new Wonka movie?
I have to think about it. I don't know if I threw as many in. Because
not in the one.
Actually, I can't. There are.
Nice.
Okay, good.
We could have a separate live stream about that.
We'll break down the lore.
Yeah, we'll just keep an eye out.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, yeah.
So fun.
Homage.
So cool. I had not heard that. I'm giddy now.
He's always working, baby. He's always working.
Hey, when you're the best, you're the best.
That was, again, that was from another one. I mean, I basically owe the Coen brothers my entire career. That was from the same number.
Wow.
I got it from Dames. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Shoot.
That's amazing.
Are they going to make an Altar Boys the musical? I guess, or movie. I mean, that's probably we're way too late for that. But it never happened, did it?
I'm like, come on, I'm waiting.
Yeah, we just have to be updated
It would have to be
a little
a
bit.
period piece now.
Oh, it could be a period piece. Yeah. I think this is going to happen, but a little down the road. You got other things to do first.
Someone says we need an Oompa Loompa Frug.
Well,
I'm kind of hearing the Oompa Loompa thing with the dun, 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 like in my head, and it works a little too well.
Yeah, that's
So good. Just try to work in the, that in the original film, the Oompa Loompa that tries to do a cartwheel and doesn't quite get over there. That's the moment I want to see you recreate in, because you listen to me for all your big movie needs.
no spoilers.
Gotta wait until Christmas.
Christmas.
That's right. Sorry, I'm just looking at the Hugh Grant is an Oompa Loompa. Is that Hugh Grant's the Oompa Loompa?
Oh,
Well, that's unexpected. My goodness, I've been living in Schmigadoon land too long. I don't know anything about this.
Right.
What's going on in the world?
I'll open the whole.
Is just an Oompa Loompa, or is it like the Tim Burton remake where he's like all the Oompa Loompas? I guess we'll see.
Yeah. You know, they shot it both ways, so we don't know which one they're going to actually use. I'm just kidding, by the way.
All right.
I don't want to get Chris in any trouble or anything.
All right.
Yeah. Do we have any more questions?
And we're just looking. I think everyone's just chatting now.
People are obsessed. Everyone's looking and thinking of Fosse Oompa Loompas now.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I must have false expectations.
No, but thanks so much, Chris, for hanging out with us, man. We really loved each number just being so different in itself. Obviously, it's inherent with the show because it's always usually a different style. I mean, it's just really fun to see, man. I wonder what he's going to do with this song, where once the song starts, I'm like, what's he going to do with this one, So we're having a lot of fun watching it, hopefully as much as you guys had making it.
Thank you. And we had a great time, but also like, I know a lot of us watch all of your channels too. And so it's like, it's so lovely to hear your excitement about the show and things that you notice and things that like touch you. And it really means a lot to all of us. That's why I'm happy to do this anytime, because I know it really touches everyone, the love for the show. So thank you all back.
Oh shucks. Well, you can take us on your movie set, and I'll be your assistant
after COVID's gone. Anytime.
There we go. Just bring all the YouTube Chicago experts.
In the Marvel movies, they keep putting like YouTubers in their films as cameos. So I'm waiting.
Mark, we're in.
Where's
background couple walking by in the 80s in leg warmers? I don't know.
Sure.
The cast of Rent. We're at La Vibo. Jeff, you're familiar with Rent?
Familiar.
I hope they just stick to 80s for next season. I mean, not.
There's a lot. There's a lot in the 80s, man.
Because we gotta slow down. We're gonna run out of years soon.
I know.
Slow down, Cinco Paul. We
got to ramp. I was telling Ann Harada, she was like, I'd love to keep going. And I was like, you guys could just hit the end and then just ramp back and go back to like the 20s or something like that. Something that you didn't get to yet. So
ooh, yeah, that's
just
true.
Jump back in time.
Huh.
Well, here's my idea. I want like a multiverse of madness situation where each episode is its own Schmiga land. So you could get, a full sung through 80s world, entirely Cats, world. And then I want them to go back to Schmigadoon, same characters, same people, but it's like the 2019 Oklahoma revival.
Oh God.
Schmigadoon.
Yes.
Like sexy Schmigadoon.
The gritty realist version where you don't change any of the text, but all of a sudden you recontextualize it so Josh actually does end up with Dove Cameron or something.
Like just some, I get some revivals in there. Yeah, I think there's so much. And like I said on Twitter, I want a Halloween special. That's all the horror musicals, Carrie and Little Shop and Rocky Horror and
too. Lord.
Oh, that would be so fun.
Get on
and
that.
You could do a Christmas one too. There are plenty of Christmassy ones. Eric Cohen Harp.
White Christmas. There you go, Chris. That's
I threw some nods in the first season. If we get to chat about that, I can unload some Vera Ellen Easter eggs.
Oh yeah, Vera Ellen.
Music. Yeah. When are we gonna get some Apple TV Plus? When are we gonna get some like outtakes from the show? There's got to be some good. I mean, everyone must be cracking up all the time filming this show.
Sure. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure there has to be one eventually.
Yeah. Keegan that night when we saw the screening, he was doing his impression of Patrick Page a little bit in the dressing room, and he's talking about how he always has a little dog with him. Do you know Georgie? Are you and Georgie good?
His dog.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Patrick's dog. Yeah.
Oh, I never met Georgie.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Well, anyway, it was just that situation where, you know, since Patrick Page wasn't there, at least we got the Keegan Michael Key
Impression of him talking to his
Georgie,
dog.
do you
Yeah.
want to go poopy?
There you go. Season 3, Patrick Page is going to be in the dancing role, and you're going to be working real tight with Patrick.
Exactly, because I didn't really get to see him this year.
He'll
So
be
if
the
anyone-
rum tum
Yeah,
tugger.
he's
There
gonna
you
be-
go.
Yeah, he's gonna be doing the pancakes. You know.
Yeah, and that's another thing
Patrick, get ready.
that's so great, like showing the range of these actors. We get to see them in totally different styles, you know?
I know, like who would have thought like
That's
Kristen
like theater in
Chenoweth?
general. That's what theater is like.
Who would have thought like Kristen Chenoweth filling a Mrs. Lovett role? Which
Yeah.
I feel like now it's like a no-brainer, but like I feel like there was a time where that would have been surprising.
Mm.
So
Yeah, Alan Cumming, yes, Sweeney Todd, which we need that revival
Oh my
yesterday with those two.
I know, right?
God. Oh my god, they're amazing together. I mean, you could tell they they're so close, and it's so much fun with them together.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time where you wanted to throw something in and Cinco was like, I think, I don't think so.
I mean, I can't think of one off the top of my head because he's very open. I mean, but it's something like it'll work itself out, like the parachute thing. It's kind of like go for it and try it, but it's like it maybe limits us. Like it should feel more free. It's like, yeah, like he's an amazing he's a collaborator that way, just in terms of like he'll let you go for it and like put everything out there, and then he'll go, well, what if, and then he kind of like brings it in, and so he, yeah, his finger on the pulse of what this should be is like you never even question it. You go, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's so steady.
And you have an amazing team as well working with you, choreographing team, Jenny Ford and
my
Stephen. Such an amazing team. I don't know if you want to shout them out.
My oh my god, my whole support system. I mean, it was like this year alone was Bethany Pettigrew, Lou Castro, Erica Hunter, who was in it as well, Stephen Binsky, Michael Williams, Haley Pashoon, Rochelle Rack, I think that was Sydney Ali. I think that was the 8. But like, yeah, I always get nervous doing that because I never want to forget anyone. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to go around our table,
Right.
like thinking and throwing everything on the table. But yeah, but I mean, it's just, that's the thing. Like we had like 2 or 3 rooms going on at the same time, just like, all right, I'm in there with the chains and get in there with the thing, you know, we're all just like going at it. And then we all like get together and like work it all out. It's a great group. And all of the pre-production dancers too. I mean, it's yeah, just joy, you know, like everyone involved, even at that level where, like, you know, unfortunately for them, we couldn't shoot in the States, but them just even being a part of the DNA of it, they get so, they're just as giddy, you know, just to have been like a part of it and like have like it created on them essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone involved in this world at every level is just kind of that joy, and you know, everyone who gets close to it just loves it. So it's always a pleasure. You know, that never feels like work. It's
Yeah.
because you're having fun.
Yeah. And obviously, like whenever we do shows, you know, our cast, our creative team, we kind of become a family. That happens over and over again in the biz. But in this case, it's a little morphed. It's a little bigger. There's people that you don't see all the time. How different is that experience?
I would say, I was just talking today about this. That's the one part of this that I think theater has over TV and film, is that like you really, when you're doing a theater, like you really create a family. And not that you don't on TV and film, especially if you're there a bunch, but it's like it's not that like room of people together.
Yeah.
Like it's all the time, like with the writers in the room and everyone's in the room like doing it, and it's like no one's remote, or you know, like no one pops in, or it's like you're all in there. And so like that's the part I love about the theater. We were just talking about this in rehearsals today, like especially that especially with all of the COVID pandemic stuff, like I always appreciated it, but I even appreciate, like, it's my favorite part of any process is the collaboration and working with talented artists, and like who's, you know, like uh, everything that everyone brings into a process. But I think it's like more evident now to me, like about like that theater is back and you can get in a room with people to like how genuinely special that is, and how like it's you know, when you've done it, you know. And it's just like that thing where at any level, high school, anything, like you're like people coming together in a room to make something.
Oh yeah.
It's just like there's
no bond like it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like in friendships, like that's why you can mention the Kevin Kirkwood, like, and like
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
have that bond and connection forever.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's incredible.
Like when you saw Debate.
Yeah, TV too. Yeah, I mean, it's you know, Rebecca Jones, like
Yeah.
you know, so many people that I've worked with over the years that just kept going up and up and up, and it's so amazing to see. And then but you do sort of just, you always have that bond, so you'll always be good. You know, you can just pick up right where you left off. You know.
Truly. And it's like you share those stories, like, oh my God, remember in this city?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
And you remember, and I always try to explain to people how like the past 20 years of my life feels like 40, especially like when you're on the road, and especially you too, you know, all the different projects, because you have different families like every year, and eventually it just keeps piling up and up, and it just feels like so much more time has passed than it actually has.
that's so true. It's so true. And because it's your extended family. And then it's like, that's why even the members of the production team, like my team that I just mentioned, like I've known some of them for 30 years, like that have like I met like right into the bit, like that have like stayed with me and as friends and collaborators. And then some were absolutely new, like Sydney.
Yeah.
And like I met her at a dance competition, like I had to judge something and she was a part of it, and part of it was like a scholarship as like a mentee. And so like, you know, so she got time with me, and I was like, do you want to come in the room and be a part of this? You know, and it's like, yeah, I had never even like met her in person. And it's like, so it's like these range of relation, but now like she's a part of the family, like she's a part of my family in that way. And so it's such a beautiful community that way, that I think is so unique unto anything really. Like the theater community that way is something that's I don't know, it's just it's special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, Emily, you're in your interview with Anne, she said that she season 1 and 2 didn't really get to see Aaron at all. And then excuse me, at the Apple event, someone asked Alan Cumming if he, you know, gave any MC tips to Ariana DeBose, and he said he never saw her at all. I mean, I know she wasn't on set very long, but like
they were in totally different worlds with this Dooley
yeah,
Blake.
I mean, if you're not in, if you don't visit the club ever in the show, you're not seeing any of those people. So it's as opposed to the theater, like you said, where you're all still backstage together, whether you're in the scene or not.
Yeah. Shoot. Well, hey, I'm a fan of Chicago, guys. I'm gonna be sad when it's done, but you know, now that it's proven that not only do fans love it, they go really hard with it. I think it can clearly go on forever.
Oh
so,
yeah, I mean, and that's just another testament to how good a job you guys have done with it. Because as I was saying, if it was in the wrong hands, it could be a disaster. But this does prove that it can be done, and you're going to inspire more and more people, and that's just great for us, you know. for those of us who know theater, and I never really get the whole concept of, you know, I don't like musical theater, I do like it. It's like, well, every genre spans the gamut. You know, there's great things that you love and there's things that you don't like. How can you just say you don't like an entire genre? But I think,
Josh.
Yeah, well, of course, it's kind of the trope that we go to.
Now he's singing with gusto all the time, which is the best.
And he's taking a journey. See, you know, you gotta trust Cinco. You gotta trust him.
And that's the thing too, like you said, like, and hopefully this inspires people. Like people weren't exposed to musicals in this way. Like we were lucky to have been, but maybe this is like, oh wow, that looks like it would be fun to sing and dance and like do like, so hopefully the show is inspiring people too. I mean, that's that's always part of the, the hope when you do these two, is that it's inspiring people, and bringing legions more of performers
Yeah, well,
to the
that's-
fold. But like, that's what you hope. It's like, wow, if this touches one person or inspires one person, like there you go. It was
Yeah.
worth
And
it.
having Keegan and Cecily from like the comedy worlds, SNL and Key and Peele come in and sort of be that in for people, and Fred Armisen in season 1,
Yeah.
known for their comedy. And then in this world of Broadway people, it's a very meta, them entering this world that is filled with theater people.
Well, and it's
literally
so
and figuratively.
funny. Yeah, it's so funny. At the event we went to, Keegan was talking about how he was like, "Oh, I did musicals in high school, and that was a lot of my gateway to it." And I think people discount how many people have done a musical because of educational theater. Like even just people who might not do it in their careers, probably their first gateway into acting in any way was like some junior high or high school production of like Peter Pan or something. And so, more people I think know musicals and have done musicals than I think are willing to admit. So
Well, he made that exact point that night.
yeah, he was like, I don't like, and then I segued into legitimate theater, but I don't like that term legitimate. Musical theater is legitimate.
Yeah, he seriously said, I don't like that term. He knows where the bread is buttered. He got an applause.
He's a smart man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love that he gets to sing a lot more this season, though. He's just so fun.
I mean, it just is such a comedic talent. I mean, Jane was mentioning it. Aaron said it, to keep a straight face sometimes in a scene with some of these amazing comedic actors, especially Keegan-Michael Key. Oh, I asked Aaron because when they're in the jail cell in this episode 2, when he's singing the Pippin song to him, when he's singing
So funny. Doorway to Where.
And just the reactions from Keegan, I was like, you weren't in the same room, right? I mean, there's no way you could have kept it together. But they were obviously. I mean, I'm just joking. But then they would say it again. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, there's so many outtakes." But yeah, like you said, Mark. Hopefully one day we'll get to see some.
I would love to see them. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I love Apple TV Plus. You're so great for putting the show on, but I could deal with a little more
just
on
some
the publicity
extras.
side for the show. I could deal with a little more love from the network, but that's just me.
There could be an outtake session alone just of like Keegan.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, he is just nonstop. He is hilarious. That man is. Oh my God.
He's a tour de force, man. His body of work is extraordinary. Just even Key and Peele alone in 3 seasons. How many different characters he played? Like, I don't know, 100.
He is and not. I'm not. But he's in Wonka too.
He's in everything now. It's legitimate. He has to be in everything.
This cast is stacked.
I'm all for it.
That man he can do anything.
Booked and busy, baby.
Well, and you're also going to choreograph his one-man Broadway musical, right? Next season?
If you want me, I'm there.
Oh my
Anything for
God.
anyone in this cast. I mean, they know that.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
So good. So when are we? So is
I'm looking at
I mean, probably you can't talk about things, but like I was going to ask, when's your next? You think foray back to Broadway? Is it? Of course, it could be Death Becomes Her. Hopefully. But I didn't know if there's anything else sort of in the pipeline that you could talk about.
Yeah, it's tricky because it's that dance of like what.
Yeah, I mean,
first and what theaters available and all that good stuff. So it's just there's a few fun ones right now. That's all I can kind of say.
Cool.
Keep an eye out for the fun ones, everybody.
The stars all have to align.
It's all. That's what I love about it too. It's like you do your thing and it's just out into the world.
Yeah.
I it's all you could do is do what you love and that's it.
Yeah, like you never could have planned this. You just go out and do the best you can, and this is the type of career that is possible. You're an inspiration to choreographers everywhere.
Well, it was like you said before. It's like this is something that I couldn't even aspire to, or like want to like beat down doors to do. It's like it just fate. It happened. It's I always say like show up, do your best work, be a good person, and then that's all you can do. And then hopefully that does
I
The
mean,
cream-
one number in one
Cream
movie.
rises.
and if not, and if
That,
not,
you know.
that's
Butter
cool too.
bread
You know,
and
at least
cream rises.
in that moment, then
Yeah.
you know you've had a good time and hopefully made friends and had laughs and you know.
Amazing.
So here's another theory I've seen thrown out about the finale, that maybe the Schmigadoon world people will invade the real world. Keegan and Cecily will get a reverse Schmigadoon.
They're gonna come with them. They're gonna walk out of Chicago with them.
Oh no, that would be interesting.
Oh
That
my
would set up
God.
season 3 perfectly.
They're all singing like off key and they can't dance and
It's like when the dinosaurs come out
That's
in
what I thought,
the
yeah.
Jurassic World sequels.
There you go.
That's
People
them.
like me. Yeah. Oh,
So much
the
fun.
first season I had like Westworld vibes sometimes with the characters, and like whenever something would change, like Keegan Michael Key would say something, and they'd have to be like recalibrating, like I always felt like maybe they were little bots like in Westworld.
It was, oh man, that first season too. So many great memories about. I mean,
Yeah.
it was cool in that you're watching this thing. Like this season was cool because we went in a little with, I don't want to say a little more confidence, but it's kind of like, okay, well, like we're back, and so obviously something clicked. But like the first season was so cool because again, like we went in just trying to like do our best, but like figure it out and like really not know, and like then like you'd watch something back and go, oh, that was kind of fun, you know. And so it was so interesting to just not know,
Yeah.
you know.
And you had a little bit more time to build the world too in the first season. The story wasn't moving so frantically, you know. So I bet it feels like a real nice contained show that first season.
Yeah. And because you really got to set things up where,
Yeah.
you know, coming to this, once you do the recap, you know, Josh and Melissa are coming from now into that, you know, so there's a lot of explaining that you don't have to set up. So it was nice to just kind of jump into the
Yeah.
world, know like the rules and the leprechaun and all that.
Oh yeah, the leprechaun.
the leprechaun.
Haven't seen it in a
Oh
while.
man, so good. So with the filming conditions for season 1 and season 2 were also quite different. I mean, COVID aside, I mean, season 1 the set was in a giant building. I mean, you weren't outside at any point, as opposed to season 2 is location work. So did season 1 feel more like a stage show and season 2 feel more like a movie or television show, or was it pretty similar?
It was different in that way. I mean, for sure, it was like it was definitely like but in a cool way that's what they did then. Like when they're shooting Oklahoma, you know, like they're doing the ballet against a drop. I mean, it's not, they're not in a cornfield. So it was kind of cool because it felt like we were on the lot, like in
Felt
a
authentically,
space,
yeah.
even if it was outside or not. So that was kind of cool because it felt like this is what they used to do.
Mm.
You know, whereas when it got into the, you know, when they did more on location things so even that felt like in the moment for season 1, like a throwback to like, right, they did have drops and they did have, you were outside even though you were in. And so it did feel a bit like periody that way. So that was
So I never thought about that. Yeah, and then like the Godspell film, it's all over New York City and
Yeah.
all location and
yeah.
And I love that whole first season for the ensemble. They got to shine so much. I'm sure some of your favorite dancers you got to bring in to the cast, that type of thing.
They were so, I mean, because that was the thing, is that the world, because it was so specific, that the ensemble literally was a character. Like
Yeah.
they were part of that first season in a way that this year, because of the different locations, they were more broken up. But yeah, they were definitely like a figure last year. It was really cool that they were in every episode and like 2 numbers an episode or whatever it was. And it was really fun. And just the conditions, it was so interesting going there, and really, because being in Vancouver, I didn't know a bunch of them. And even in the rehearsal process, I didn't really get to, because we really couldn't get close to each other and everyone was in masks. So the first time I really felt like I met them was the first day on set, because it was the first time I ever saw their full face, which is so, like, when you think about that, it's like it was, because performing you're using everything, and it's like,
Yeah.
so it's like to finally see them smile during a number was like, oh my
That's crazy.
God,
That's and
like,
unprecedented, right? That's never happened before, before this time.
yeah,
Crazy.
like that they were all like between the masks and everything, it was just like, and then there they are on set in like full wig and makeup and costume, and it's like, oh wow. And then it
Yeah.
just kind of like every time they got to set was like, this like amazing gift that was opening, because it was like seeing them do this new thing as them that was kind of always covered up and you could never really see
Yeah.
what it
Yeah.
was. And it was always a special moment when we had to do their numbers last season, because it was, because it was the first time anyone was kind of seeing what they were really,
Yeah.
and that was special.
So cool. And I love how, because of the structure of the show and musicals in general, you don't have to adhere to certain rules that other shows have. Like, like Justine Guerra, who was Elsie and killed in the first episode, she gets to be a hippie back later on, as opposed to like, oh, well, you're done. Your character, you can't be in the next episode. Or like,
It's just like theater, how the ensemble has to fill multiple tracks. It's so
Yeah.
much fun seeing them and following them throughout kind of their ensemble tracks.
yeah, and then like
That's
you
cool.
see one of the hippies like in the crowd, and then 5 seconds later he's behind Keegan catching the penny.
Yeah.
Gray is catching the penny. So it's like you get to break the rules in a very specific way, which is a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Well, even the guys in the jail cell, I mean, that would have been
Oh yeah.
6 or 8 men just for like the jail
Yeah.
cellography, and then like not use them anymore. Not a waste, but like,
Yeah.
you're hiring, so like to be able to reuse people was so awesome, so they got to really feel utilized, and everyone got something like rewarding, which is great.
Hmm.
It was good.
Hmm.
So much fun. What a special show this is. I mean,
Yeah.
Bravo.
it's lightning in a bottle. I mean, it really feels like the perfect melding of Cinco and you and the whole production team and the period of time, and luckily theater, I think, is really in a resurgence in pop culture. So it was the right time for that, and
Yep.
it's just a special.
Yeah, the age of streaming allows for a lot of content, and so it's like, why not? I mean, why not make just super niche stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
You'll still have an audience for it. So, and
And-
YouTubers like us who will break down every single little ding dang thing.
and storytelling keeps evolving and keeps changing. What you guys are doing is pioneering in a lot of ways. We can see the way it is conceptually different from other stories that we've seen told. So I mean, it's just going to keep going. It just feels like you're opening up new avenues for people to be creative.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like to all the peers. It's like you can feel that, I think, in general, like people are taking risks, they're taking bigger risks and doing like some surprising things, and like you said, like I think because there are so many, I mean, they actually make a joke about it, I think, in the first episode about or there was cut, but like there was a joke about like all the streaming services, but in a way it's like it's that much more content that people can create and make, and like so something that may not have had the chance because there were 3 channels on the TV, like now like can have a life, and that's amazing. I mean, it's amazing, and I think it's inspiring artists to want to do more and try to break some ground and try to do something, like who knows if this 3 channels on your TV set, if this ever would have been made now. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
sure,
Yeah, you don't have to worry about finding sponsors that want to sponsor the project, and it's
Yeah.
just
Or
here's
hitting
our
your
stuff.
widest audience and getting ratings or running by ratings. It's great. I
Yeah.
love it. And plus, since it's streaming, like Mark and I can rewatch obsessively and pause every moment.
Yeah, we never could have dreamed of that 15 years ago.
I've probably seen each episode, I don't know, 50 times each. So luckily, I love this show to death.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
never gets tiring. If I wasn't a huge fan of the show, it would be, it would be rough.
But you would still do it. You would still do it.
Heck yeah, I would still be there. I'm a Schmiga nerd for life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on a tattoo. I'm gonna get a Schmigadoon tattoo. I don't know of what yet, but I'm working on it.
Ooh, a cleaver.
Ha.
Oh yeah.
That could be the Justice Cleaver.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
we'll,
yeah.
we'll see what happens in episode 6.
That's right.
Before
Yeah.
you,
Can
before you
imagine getting a
decide.
tattoo of, like,
Yeah, I would hold on any tattoos before.
Yeah, right. Just put one of those tattoos like right here that says "Someone stole my doorway" or something like that.
Oh my god.
Flowers
My
don't wear
dog is
pants.
freaking out. I'll be right back.
If you had to get a Schmigadoon or Schmicago tattoo, Chris Catelli, what would you get?
Oh my gosh. That's I'm
What a weird question.
my associates and team, they would laugh because I change my mind so often that I wouldn't that's why I have none to begin with, because I
You just have a sleeve of all the different
I
references.
change my mind every 5 minutes about every piece of choreography I do. So nothing is that ever that set. Yeah.
So good. So someone asked, are you excited to, I mean, this is getting to spoiler territory, but are you excited to get into some Gillian Lynn choreography next season?
I don't even, we'll see. I hope so.
Yeah, the next email that you get from Cinco, he's going to be like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing that. How many times have you opened an email and being like, oh my God, what does he come up with now?
That
As far as
always.
stories. Yeah.
Always. Like that was like, first of all, just that we got to do this season was, amazing, just that we got to do it. But then knowing it's that thing of like, okay, he's like, I'll send you the scripts. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
just the excitement of like, opening those and then hearing the songs for the first time. It's just, it's going to be like, now I know not what to expect, but I know it's going to be good in terms of like what he's going to put out. And like I said, like the first time I heard the dung 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 dung,
Yeah.
I was like, I
Yeah.
laid me flat. I was like, oh man, here we go. So it's just it's a great Cinco and team. That writer's room, they're just geniuses.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Was there a show either from season 1 or season 2 that they referenced that you weren't as familiar with that you got to know because of Schmigadoon? I mean, you've directed and choreographed almost all of these shows in the past, so that might be hard.
It is hard. I mean, yeah, I pretty much, I'm a musical theater nerd. There wasn't much that but I will like, but something, for example, like bells and whistles on the page, it was something I thought was totally, when I read it, because I read everything first before I heard the tracks, I wasn't expecting it to be a Dance 10 parody.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I was just thinking like, all I care about is love.
Yeah.
That kind of, when they were talking about descriptions of like, then she does this in the courtroom, or, I was thinking more like, oh, it's going to be like that homage. I was not expecting that it was going to be Dance 10 Looks 3. So as soon as I heard it, I was like, dun, 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 dun. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, even better. I was like, oh my gosh. So now I get to combine Val and, Billy Flynn and Roxy Hart. I mean, it was like a mashup of all of, I was like, oh, come on.
And then Not Getting Married Today jumps in, makes an appearance.
Then
Like, I feel like every time Cinco shares more with you, you're like, well, where's he going to go with this? It's not it's not necessarily what you'll expect.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. Because I was like reading along, and then it was like, and then you could just tell by the way it was written.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's a lot of words.
I was like, oh no.
Getting into patter territory.
He is, they're fully going there. He was like step on the gas, like full foot. I was like, you're going for it. It was really, just reading it, I was like, oh wow, this will be special for sure.
Amazing.
Someone said season 3 is going to be based solely around the Leprechaun.
An original musical.
I wish Cinco would write like a manifesto of like the creation of Schmigadoon, like the lore and the rules of the history. I'm probably the only one who would want to read that, but I would.
I think you should write it, Mark. I think you should write the Schmigadoon fan fiction lore.
The Schmeibel.
Yes, for how the Leprechaun created
It'd be a whole like
this
a
magical world.
appendices,
Yeah.
the Silmarillion
Yeah.
equivalent.
The
Coming this fall.
Brilliant.
So
The
Broadway by Ghostlight.
Schmiggerillion. Oh, now you went there.
Brilliant.
The Schmeckernomicon.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God. I'm gonna bounce because I'm gonna start prepping for my day tomorrow. But
Yes.
it was so much fun talking with y'all. Oh my God.
Thank you
That was so great, Chris.
so much for hanging out and
Please.
answering questions and being here. I love you. We love you.
Love you all
Yeah, it
back.
was so great to talk to you and so great to meet you.
Same. And nice catching up.
Yeah, take care, Chris.
Yeah. All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, everyone saying
Bye.
thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. So, hey, everybody.
How you doing on time, Emily?
I'm fine. I can tell my husband is dealing with my dog right now. So,
Oh, the
yes.
dog.
Go take care of our dog, honey. Yeah.
Well, I hope you all liked an extended conversation with Chris Catelli. That was fun.
I know. Gosh, he stuck with us for so long.
He's the sweetest human. Every person I've ever met in dealing with the show, and you got to meet Cinco. I got to shake his hand for 3 seconds at my event. You got to speak to him.
He was so nice. Yeah.
Everyone has just been so lovely.
Yeah. I think they know like how kind of, I don't know, not rabid is not the term, but like how devoted, I guess, the true Schmigadoon fans are. So I think they definitely don't take it for granted. So
For sure.
yeah. So
You've
it's
got
gonna
some great
drop
books
what,
behind
tomorrow
you.
night probably? The next
Tomorrow
one?
night here on Eastern time, it comes out at 9 p.m.
Yeah,
which
I always get a
based on
notification
before-
around 6. So
If I didn't have those 3 hours on Tuesday night, I don't know how I'd get my videos out.
I mean, this is the first week I'm not in a crazy rehearsal every night, so that's kind of nice. So
I don't know how you do that. I basically don't sleep for
yeah.
Tuesday night to Friday morning. I'm just schmigadooning.
Yeah, I'll miss it, but it will be nice to kind of just take a breather.
Have a nap.
couple days.
Yeah, I was saying to someone else, like I'm very sad it's ending, but also could use a nap.
Yeah. It's a bittersweet feeling, like when a show closes. You know, you're sad it's over, but you're also like, yeah, but it was time. So
We used to call that. Well, this is probably not politically correct, but we used to call that PMS, post musical syndrome, where you
Aw.
could be really
yeah.
sad after a show closed.
Mm-hmm.
Also, bravo having your. I mean, I know you didn't do it, but they went to Denny's afterwards. That's yes.
Oh my God, they did it. Yeah. My Mean Girls cast on closing night. I just heard them talking, and a bunch of them were like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to Denny's," and I was like, "My work is done." And
Where was it? What? No cast party though.
Well, here's the thing: is like I told them, I was like, they're all high school kids. I'm like, you guys should have a cast party, but I'm not gonna throw that because. Come on, like your drama teacher your director throwing the cast party, and then like what? I'm gonna have it at like my apartment or something? No, they have to do what I did in high school, which is have a big debaucherous a cast party that I don't know anything about, but they're high school kids and they've earned it. They deserve it. So I'm gonna nudge them about it because you guys, there were showmances. There were showmances. Regina and Aaron were there was stuff going on, and I was just like,
If you've ever seen, I'm pretty sure you've mentioned it before, Crucible Cast Party on SNL. Probably my
Mark,
favorite
that's what
skit of all time.
literally.
I was literally Cody Shuck in high school. I mean, I was Mr. Triple Threat.
Yeah, you can sing, dance, and you know.
I had the senior cast party at my house. It was wild.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was, that is almost always playing in my head. I did the thing, one of the parents wanted to film it, and I was like, yeah, because they got to film it and so that they can rewatch it and watch a DVD of our play. That's what I used to do, obsessively watch your show. So I hope those little kids I'll party it up.
We used to go to Norm's.
Oh, go to Norm's. Yeah. Well, see, I went to the LA County High School for the Arts, so it was, we probably got a little too much freedom, I will say, with some of our cast parties. We were allowed to do probably a little bit more than kids should do, but whatever. It was the 90s, baby.
Yeah.
or the year 2000. Now that I think about it, I'm old. Yeah. Okay. So Schmigadoon is going to be. Let's see. There was like a year and a half in between the first season and the second season.
It took forever for them to announce season 2,
Yeah.
which was stupid. I hope they get a season 3 announcement.
They might get some more Emmy noms this year. I mean, everyone's been talking about Jane and Cecily, and I think their profile is definitely upped. Plus, I know so many people who, like when Chicago came out, I know so many actor friends who were like, should I watch this? Like, I don't know anything about the golden age of Broadway, but this era is my favorite. And I would say to them, you really don't need to know it's just a good musical and a good story. Like, if you don't get all the references, you'll be fine. But you do have to see season 1 in order for season 2 to hit. So
yeah. Although, I mean, I think you could enjoy season 2 without seeing season 1, but it won't be as impactful, I think.
I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, I guess like if you technically wanted to, you could, but watch it all. There's only 6 episodes, folks.
Come on. Yeah, because the first season was supposed to be 8 episodes and they cut it down. Cinco wrote 8 episodes and they cut it down to 6.
Yeah.
Apparently there was going to be this whole lot more Danny Bailey where he like had a robbery like plot like in Carousel. So I was hoping for season 2 that they would expand it to the original 8 episodes, but
yeah.
6. What is this?
Well, I think you're right. I think the next one they should just confine it to the 80s, because even though the 90s has a lot of 80s in there, I think the 80s is just such a defining year.
Yeah,
and then
you can throw in like Miss Saigon, which is technically well, you don't have to do Miss Saigon, but something from the early 90s that fits more in with the mega musical.
Yeah, and then I don't know, people have been saying they'd be doing jukebox musicals, but to me it's like, I don't know how, I mean they could, but the thing is they would have to write new songs in the style of pre-existing pop songs that already sound, I don't know, to me that's like,
See, that would be like a 1 episode thing in my Multiverse of Madness scenario, because like you couldn't do a whole revival season, but 1 episode could work.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, Halloween episode sounds like a lot of fun because there's so many. I do a whole like around Halloween, I try to teach my students all about Halloween-ish musicals because there's so many that work, and cult musicals, and you could even dig into like weird off-Broadway shit.
Yeah, or somebody
even more than Little Shop,
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, Little Shop would be great.
Well, yeah, that'd be.
You guys talking about the next season? I take it.
Yeah, just some
possibilities for it,
theories, and but I said I want a Halloween special. Get Patrick Page as the voice of like a fern. Like it can't be a plant; it's got to be like a tree or something silly like that. But
right.
Oh, but yeah, you're so right. They do one of those. They do a Christmas special. I mean, the sky's the limit. The sky is the limit. No, did you're talking about the multiverse? And Emily pointed out that Dooley Blight, his meat provider was Menlove.
Yeah.
So we were thinking like there's this connection. If one actor is playing both characters in different dimensions, can they pass things to each other? What are the rules in this universe?
Well,
what kind of connection do they have?
Right. I originally had a theory because there's some really sneaky Easter eggs. Like the box of chocolates was Danny Bailey's chocolates.
Right.
And there's the Layton's overalls. So I had this theory that was like little nods to what these characters did after Josh and Melissa left. So my theory was that Menlove sausage was actually a Florence Menlove reference, and she finally got herself some meat.
There you go.
There you go. Anna Harada, did you get your meat?
Wherever she is in that other dimension, she got something.
Yeah, and wanted to be on this live stream. I approached her about it just for all you viewers, and she's busy, of course, being amazing. She couldn't. Also, Mickey Joe Theater was also not able to be here. If you haven't checked out Mickey Joe's,
he's got that UK time zone going on.
Yeah. I guess it's a 3-day weekend in the UK this week, so he's out living
it up on holiday.
Yeah.
On holiday, but that's what I love about. I feel like we all three of us, because I think it's just really us three that do these Schmigadoon
I know.
things, have such different and great perspectives. I love you guys have this great performing past that really influence. You know, you've done these shows. I mean, I was
Yeah.
a performer in high school, but like I only did 4 shows. Um, so and also you're actually living my dream and becoming a real musical theater historian on paper.
I'm trying to. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
masters, right?
Yeah. It took me a while to kind of suss out that so many people have asked, like, how do you do that? And I was like, I've thought about that for a long time. How do I do that? And then I realized when you're a history masters, your focus can be on any history in the whole world. So I pitched it to, I'm at a university that has a musical theater BFA program. So I was like, oh, this could work, which is why I'm a TA this semester, because it's through the theater department. And so I'm kind of crossing disciplines. So, and again, I just have this unique perspective because I did spend so much of my life as a performer, and I still perform, but like I'm segueing into this other side of my life, which is, history masters. So applying all this theater stuff, but then, historiography and history theory to kind of complete it and make it a little more, I guess, academic, or approaching it in that way. And it's been so much fun. And it's been a lot of work, but I started this right when COVID started. like I think I got accepted in like March of 2020, and I was like,
Holy
oh, okay,
moly,
well.
yeah.
So I mean, on the one hand, like my first year of grad school was all online, so it was a good distraction for that first year, and then So you could really do it anywhere as long as you want to pay to go back to college. I'm much better at college now that I'm like a grown up, I will say.
Right?
So much
Yes,
better at it than
you
when
don't
I
have
was
to be there
19.
because you want to be there.
I mean,
There's
exactly.
something to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'm like, who am I going to impress? This
Yeah.
20-year-old? I don't care. So,
No, it's funny, Mark. I didn't do any theater until college. I always was interested.
he's one
in
of
it.
those guys.
I was a military kid. There was just I moved around a lot. There wasn't really a place that did shows the way that some high schools do. So for me, I was kind of learning on the fly all throughout my college years doing theater, and then entering, coming into the business. I was learning a lot of these shows in the moment, like as I'm rehearsing, but I'm around all these people who have been doing musicals their whole lives. So I really did feel like Josh and Mel a little bit, like in this, like my Schmiga world, I guess. It's like people, hey, I did this show when I was, in 4th grade, or I did it in college, I did it in high school, like people talk about how much they
yeah,
did
but you
shows.
got to do a lot of these shows professionally.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's what I mean. But other people in the cast would be talking about when they did it as kids, and it'd
Yeah.
just be sort of this, wow, that was not anything that was on my radar when I was a kid. But it was really kind of fun to be able to approach this whole art form as an adult, and it's just endless, almost endless things to explore, and then, but that's just talking about Schmigadoon. I just said to Cinco, and then I just said to Chris, like, this type of story never occurred to me, to film it this way. Like the conceit is brilliant.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I first heard the concept of the show and it was titled Schmigadoon, and I was like, okay,
It was
so
a lot.
this is an SNL sketch that's gonna last a whole season,
Yeah.
very dubious, but I mean, they really pull it off. I mean, it never feels like a sketch that is lasting too long. At least I've felt.
No, I
No,
totally.
it's,
I
I mean,
totally
everyone
agree.
takes it deadly seriously,
Yeah.
which is where so much of the comedy comes from and why it's so watchable. Because why would you be on board as an audience if no one's taking it seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and even there's just the fact that no one's like, wait, why are you singing? Like, just stuff like that. Like, that's an old joke. That's not funny. Like,
So yeah, Urinetown came out about 20 years ago and sort of started sending up the musical theater art form while also being the art form. But Urinetown was one of those rare exceptions where it also had a beautiful heart and an amazing story. And I was living in New York.
there's a lot of musical theater parodies that.
No, I'm not saying that they all don't, but there were a lot that didn't, because I was living in New York at the time. My friends would be in readings and workshops you'd go see. So there were all these Urinetown imitators that didn't have it. And imagine sitting through those, because if you wink at the audience the whole time, why should anybody care about anything? You know, you like you just said, the comedy comes from how serious everything is taken and the care with which it's presented. And like Urinetown before it, Schmigadoon and Schmicago have been crushing it and pushing the envelope forward each show. I just don't, I can't even know what to expect next episode because they keep kind of blowing my mind a bit.
Yeah, that's, you know, I was thinking about the finale and what we can expect. I mean, I have no idea.
I know. I don't know either. I'm interested to see what the musical references are going to be or what the songs. I do think they're going to have a new song just like they did like a wholly original tune like they did in the season 1 episode 6 episode. So they'll have something that maybe wraps it up in a little bow but isn't directly inspired by something from you know, the 60s or 70s.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt that Something Real was an original song. I guess that's kind of up for debate. Because
so what
it's a
happened was
Schwartzian pastiche.
Yeah, so Cinco wrote that song, or at least the melody of it, when he was 19 years old. When he was obsessed with Pippin and Schwartz, he wrote that song. So, you know, he obviously adapted and worked on it into his adult life. But so it's an homage and a wholly original song all at once, which is what makes it so special.
Yeah.
That's amazing. He wrote it when he was a young person, like kid, did you say? Or
I said 19.
19. Oh, sorry. I couldn't quite remember. But yeah, that just adds another layer to it for me. Thanks for the knowledge.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You know, and then what had me really worried in the beginning is, you know, they released some promo material of the cast talking about the show, and a lot of them called it like act 2 of a show, and it really feels like that, but like I still want an act 3 and 4, so I don't want it to end too well that we don't, you know, there's nowhere to go. I mean, I guess we could. I mean, what would you think if this was the end of the Josh and Melissa saga and we got a new couple or new protagonists? I mean, would it lose its magic?
Part of me feels like it would.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair to say.
Also because Cecily is one of the she's like the executive producer.
Yeah, that's
so. I mean, you might lose.
They would, but
yeah, I think you would lose a certain tone. Plus, I like their characters. I like spending time with them. I've liked how they've grown a lot.
Yeah, you really care about their relationship.
But there's other things they could go through. You know, obviously they could, if they had a kid or something, which they both want to have, you know, maybe that's something for season 3 or season 4, you know, if you get into the era of Disney on Broadway, I mean, that's right there.
I was thinking the other night, like, so first season they needed love. Second season they need happiness, I guess. What could they need for season 3?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's all going to depend on when the latest episode drops. You know, we'll be able to pontificate further. What happens to finish out this season will really kind of inform what's possible. But I think you're right. I mean, all right, what you suggested, that if at some point maybe these two characters aren't even the central characters anymore, I think the concept could still work. And
if they have a kid, then you have a season with them with the kid, and then the next season the kid's older, and you know this character, and now they're like a teenager, and then we get into the we could get into the era of like new musicals now, where everything where like YA musicals exist. You know? Mean Girls. I mean,
totally. He takes one of the Be More Chill pills, and you know,
I mean, exactly.
Get into all that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I was just assuming that the next season, if they did one, would be like Les Mis and Phantom and Rent, and combining with Rent. But maybe if you're saying
Rent would be the 90s.
But I'm saying, you know, we've been spanning 2 decades kind of with each.
I know, but we were saying they need to start doing smaller decades so that we can get
and there's
more
also
stuff.
more and there's more to pull from too. So yeah, I think you're onto something there.
The 90s would be weird on its own because like it would be like Disney stuff and Rent
and Big.
No, it wouldn't be Big. But like, what else would it be? Like,
I mean,
Ragtime.
It would be like Frank Wildhorn. You got Jekyll and Hyde. I mean,
do you know what Mark's first Broadway show was?
With Constantine?
No. With the Hoff.
Oh, with
David
the Hoff.
Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
The poster. So I collect posters from every show I see, and the tagline for that poster said, "This is no day at the beach."
So wait, I saw that. That is a pretty incredible performance. There's some of his performance of
But
of
that
transformation.
tagline's hilarious.
Oh hell yeah, it
Did
is.
you know what he's famous for?
Yeah, of course, but
I'm just making sure you.
they have to like knock people in the head to get them to come to the theater, I guess.
Oh yeah, well this was like this was like 2 weeks before they filmed it, and it was which they closed soon after that. So
So what
Yeah.
are we talking about? 20 years ago? 25?
What do you?
I saw Jekyll and Hyde on Wednesday, December 27th, 2000 at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday.
So 23 years ago, almost.
There you go.
Yeah,
Nice memory, by the way. That's
It's
impressive.
an important date.
Yeah, it is.
yeah. My first
saw the
Broadway show.
Hoff.
I came to New York for 6 days and I saw 11 shows.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what you gotta do.
I love that. That's fantastic.
How to do.
That's what you gotta
I think
do,
for season
babe.
3 they should go because for it was 40s and 50s musicals taking place in the turn of the century, and so then we went up 2 decades with 60s and 70s musicals, but now set in the 20s and 30s.
Mhm.
But 80s and 90s musicals don't work in the 40s and in the
No, it would be well, but then you have a mix of some stuff too with some of the stuff. I mean, Sweeney and Mrs. Lovett alone, that's 1880s, 1890s.
So I think they should go Victorian. They should go Gothic
Yeah.
Mm,
because
Well,
not only
well,
would
that
that
would fit
work
with Les
with Phantom
Mis.
and Les Mis, but like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into the Woods characters could work in that time.
Oh,
period,
yeah.
just
That's
like
a good
Sweeney Todd
point.
worked in the 20s.
That's a good point. And then it would be a real departure from both the first 2 seasons. It would be
Yeah,
much more
costume,
stylized.
tassels,
yeah, big
you know.
sets, that might be something cool there.
It's got to be just the British mega musicals and
Yeah.
the Sondheim stuff from the 80s.
Yeah, you could have a George Surratt in there character that would work. And
Yes. And then you could have Lacage
Kiss of
for
the
sure.
Spider
So you
Woman.
could start introducing, a bunch of drag stuff. Kiss of the Spider Woman's the 90s.
Oh yeah, sorry. I thought we were including the 90s. So it just has to be the 80s. My bad. My bad.
Well, we're hoping that they,
We're-
that they
yeah.
slow down.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, whatever Cinco will do. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we've been going by how they've been going 80s and 90s, but I hope they slow down just because I don't want them to run out of.
yeah.
Well, and some people
Yeah.
there's just so many 60s musicals that didn't quite tonally work for this, but are technically in this era because they still feel like they have a little bit of like the era before in them, like shows like Hello Dolly,
Hello Dolly and
or like even Fiddler.
Yeah.
How would you fit Fiddler into this world?
Yeah.
What about Guys and Dolls? We didn't get any Guys and
That's-
Dolls.
Oh, but that's from the era before.
Yeah, from the year before,
Yeah.
but like that could be that hasn't been referenced in either season either.
Yeah, they didn't do any Guys and Dolls, did they?
No,
or did they?
I mean,
they,
I can't
they
remember.
didn't. I mean, she references in season 1, Ariana DeBose's character says like, you can't go to New York. There's all the gambling and stuff.
Oh,
there.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It was literally the only
the
reference.
tip of the cap.
Yeah. You can't get them all. There's just no way. I mean, I'm even shocked that they got like Promises in there. Like,
Ooh, I mean,
Shocked.
no one had that on their bingo card for
No.
season 2. I certainly didn't.
no. I mean, at first when they did the turkey lurkey dance, I was like, oh, cute. That's a cute little wink. Like, isn't that great? But then, oh no, full on big duet. And that was what Anne said. She said, our duet's going to be with a composer you haven't heard from yet. And I remember thinking, I wonder if it's like Jerry Herman, because we've referenced Jerry Herman in the Easter eggs, but we haven't seen any Jerry Herman, but he would work. Hello Dolly and Mame. Although maybe the last episode will get a big Hello Dolly style number.
You know what? It'll be Jaime in the red gown,
Yes!
descending the staircase.
I can't wait for this episode.
So good. And then the Bernstein twins are there as the waiters.
Oh yeah, that'd be pretty great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do wish there was a little more like hair music, but then again, maybe they're gonna end with a big like Let the Sunshine In or Flesh Failures or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Tribe do something like that. Yeah. This is a
Checking
fun
in
era.
on the chat.
And we don't even have all the Sondheims from this era. Not really. Like, there's been no Little Night Music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, apparently there was a couple of musical. David
Like,
Chase did a
like in the
thread on Twitter.
scoring.
Yeah, like this
Yeah.
transition was this waltz music, but like I can't
Yeah.
ever hear that kind of thing. I mean,
No,
I've
it's
been
hard.
told, and I know the fact that 76 trombones and what is it, My White Night or whatever her Marion
Yeah,
song is,
yeah.
are like
Yeah.
Oh no, it's
still
Good Night
can't-
My Someone. 76
Good-
trombones and Good Night My. They're the same song in different meters. Yeah.
I cannot. I know I've known that for a few years. I cannot hear that
Yeah.
at all. You could explain that to me till the cows come home. I just can't hear it. So I just don't have the ear for that kind of thing.
Yeah. How would I explain
It's
it?
hard.
Good night, my someone. Good night, my love.
It changes the
Hey,
whole.
okay, well,
yeah,
changes the whole feel of the song.
Or yeah, I guess that's why they have that little thing in the second act where they're bouncing those back and forth off each other.
Oh yeah, and Spring Awakening they could get into at some point.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, early
Get
2000s.
into like the early 2000s would be interesting because you'd have to do
Wicked.
well, yeah, definitely, and you'd have to do a lot of musicals based on movies. So like
Well,
a Hairspray type
Yeah.
homage, the producers.
But you still would have Avenue Q, which would be interesting.
Oh yeah, but then you could even get even deeper into like what happens when you get into Lin-Manuel Miranda territory. Like what happens when you get to like In the Heights and Hamilton.
Yeah.
No 1776 in this either, but where would you put that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't
that's
It's too political. We don't want this.
Oh yeah.
Just kidding.
We just saw the tour and I really liked
Oh, it
it.
was
Sorry
amazing. It
guys.
was
I
fantastic.
really liked it a lot.
I've
preferred
heard
it much
great things
better
about the
than
tour.
Yeah, I preferred it much better than if it had been traditionally.
I don't know how the tour was changed from Broadway, but
I don't know. It wasn't my favorite production of it when I saw it on Broadway, and
yeah.
I'm one of the. I thought there was many people who loved 1776, but not on Twitter. It doesn't apparently.
Yeah.
People are
Yeah,
really
I
over
don't
that
know.
show. But like,
Who are those people? I love that show.
I didn't even really know the show. This is one of the shows that was never on my radar. I knew a bit of it, a little bit of it, but I was coming to it pretty much from nothing. She knows it really well. Maybe you know it really, really well. But for me, I kind of knew the gist of it, and I knew some of the songs. But I had forgotten how incredible the book is.
one of the
God.
best
The book
books.
is
I mean,
amazing.
you're literally going, "Oh my God, I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I don't think America's going to happen." Like,
I'm telling you, it just flew by. Like it just one thing led to the next. There was never a moment where I was like, "Hey, I'm kind of bored right now." It's like I was so invested in those characters, and they're brilliantly portrayed by the cast right now. I don't know their names, but God, I mean, I was just like, it was a wonderful production, and it was a reminder that sometimes you could just do the material. You know, like regardless of, you can do it regardless of, you don't have to change pronouns, you know, or anything like that. Just do the material as it's written.
yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
Well, good.
Secret Garden,
Unlike
that Secret Garden was pretty bad, but this one
Oh, the
is,
Secret
but
Garden was rough.
1776
That
was
was
really
rough.
good.
Oh, for 80s, did we talk about, did you say Little Shop of Horrors? Did you toss Little Shop of
No,
Horrors?
we were
in there?
saying that would be in the Halloween episode.
Oh, okay.
But even if they don't do that, they should definitely get Little
yeah,
Shop in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
somewhere. I mean,
that's a must. It may,
Yeah.
Howard
I
Ashman.
was trying to think of, because it can't be a talking plant like Audrey. It's got to be a talking something weird.
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. It'll be something. Like
Yeah, right. Like you said, like
shrub.
a fern or
Yeah, a fern.
Yeah,
a palm,
something stupid.
I miss
a cactus. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So funny.
Oh
Oh
my God. I think I have to say that I am starting to fade because we've only been doing this for 2 hours and 45 minutes.
42 minutes. This is just.
Mark's just raring to go, baby.
He's 3 hours ahead with kids.
I know it's
I know.
with kid. They're all asleep.
Yeah, let them sleep.
I know. I got to take them
Rotten
to school in the
orphans.
morning.
It's that ambition, man. We appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate you guys. I was hoping we get to do some kind of collaboration and get
Well,
together
I'm-
virtually.
You came on last summer for Diana too. I loved where you went with the Diana stuff.
The
That was
lone
really cool.
voice of reason. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned.
Hey, I've watched Diana many times and I will watch it many, many more. I got
Yeah.
a lot of love for that show.
You had the big poster, your MO.
Yeah.
yeah, I've got so much Diana stuff. I've never seen the pro shot. I only saw it live 4 times.
Right.
So
It's
I
fun.
really think that makes a difference.
Oh, I'm sure.
Hell
in
yeah.
viewing
Well,
it,
good
but
for
yeah,
you. I'm just saying. No, I doubt anyone else can say they saw it 4 times.
I think there were
You know-
a lot of fans like when it was closing. There were a lot of
Okay.
people.
Yeah, I
who
mean,
came back
I
for
certainly
repeat
didn't mean that
performances.
in a disrespectful way because I enjoyed it too.
no, and one of the times I saw it, I was front row center, and that was so cool.
been fun.
Aaron
Yeah.
Davey gave this moment when during the wedding scene, someone's like, watch Aaron instead of the couple getting married. So I watched Camilla, and it was
Yeah.
one of the most heartbreaking moments that I've ever seen. And it was genius and so small that I couldn't have seen it unless I was in the front row. I mean,
Yeah. Like, I mean, if a musical
point.
makes me feel sympathy for Camilla Parker Bowles,
Her
then,
performance is so good. Yeah.
Right?
then I'll take it. Then I'll take it.
Kind of like what Chris Catelli was saying earlier, like on theater, when you're at this theater, you can look anywhere you want. But when it's on film, or it's even on a pro shot, we might not have been able to see that her performance of her.
Someone said,
Absolutely.
I will forever be sad I won't be able to see Diana live. Yes, you will, because your local community theater / dive bar drag club is gonna do it.
Immersive
Local
productions.
it's
and-
gonna happen. You're gonna see. You could do it. Produce it. It'll be great. I'm dying for it in some kind of like weird little immersive venue where everyone's like at tables having cocktails. I just
Oh, totally. That'd be amazing.
drag queens on the bar playing Diana. Come on, that's what
Then
I
they're
want.
going to reinvent it like cabaret, and it's going to be this whole other garish thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody's playing an
And by
instrument.
then it'll be, 20 years later and everyone will be like, this is an underrated masterpiece.
Right? Say, I told you. That's going to be my gravestone. I told
Exactly.
you.
I
Diana.
told you about Diana.
People will finally come around one of these days.
Okay.
Oh,
And on that note, I think
that's season 3. It's just Diana the musical.
just Diana,
Diana.
Yes.
banana. Jesus.
So funny.
All right, Mark.
Great to see
Well,
you, Mark.
thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you
this
so
has
much.
been
So much.
so much fun.
for being here, and
Yes.
we should collab on.
We'll do more. Yeah, we'll do more.
Anytime.
We'll do
more.
more
And-
stuff.
Always a pleasure.
And when we're in New York and when you're out in LA, just
Definitely. Well, I know this is going to be viewable to it's going to be able to be viewable later. So plug
Yeah.
all your stuff for everybody.
Okay, yeah. Our
Yeah.
channel is Stealing Focus. We're a lot like Mark, do kind of musical theater, Broadway history. We also do reviews, and obviously Schmig analyses. So yeah, just look us up, Stealing Focus.
Yeah, and I'll put links and all that in the description and
Yay.
the social media, and it's so great. And Jeff, you get to sing a lot, and well, both of you get to
I
sing a
know.
lot.
Oh,
We were
man.
so singy this last episode.
yeah,
I
we
don't
did.
know why.
You,
I
you
was-
sang a lot too. You were
I'll
great.
let him
She
sing.
was
I was
great.
cracking up. You guys were so funny in this last Schmig analysis.
Oh, man,
I was
thanks a lot.
dying.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Well, again, it's a pleasure, man. Thanks for
Yeah.
having us, and
Thank
we'll see
you.
you out there too.
Yeah.
Can't
So
wait to see
much. Yeah,
you
you got to come to New York, and
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll be back,
Get
baby.
you.
I know.
All right.
once COVID's over, I can get people backstage tours again. I can't do that anymore, but yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah. All right, dude. We'll
All
talk
right,
soon.
guys.
Bye,
All right, take care.
Broadway by Ghostlight YouTube audience.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Bye,
All right.
everyone.
We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, and it's just me now. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna close it up, I guess, unless anyone has any quick finale live tweet tomorrow, says Scott. Hey Scott, let me shout out some people, Allison and Scott and Ryan, my buddy Ryan, Ray Comp, so many great people, Kaz, all these great people who have supported me in the channel. Thank you all for being here and watching. Definitely, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. Please like this video. It really helps with my ego. No, I'm just kidding. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and helps more people see this thing, see my Megadoon Shmakedowns and other videos. I got the Chris Catelli videos are going to continue. Obviously, we're a little behind. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., knock on wood, episode 3 breakdown with Chris Catelli will be live, where we talk about Gotta Get Naked and Bells and Whistles. And then, of course, we're going to break down the rest of season 2, and that'll be every Tuesday. And then hopefully we'll just continue on right from there and break down season 1 with Chris and all those fun Easter eggs. And that'll be great. And then, of course, I've got other Broadway breakdowns coming. If you haven't watched my Broadway breakdowns, those are pretty fun. Next, I will be diving into Annie Warbucks, the sequel to Annie that had a brief off-Broadway life in the 90s with a wild history to it. So that's fun. So thank you all so much, Broadway Dork. Hey, how's it going? Kate Cast, Alyssa, Allison, Kaz, Ray, I've mentioned you so much. I love you all so much for being here. thank you all for watching. Go subscribe to Stealing Focus. Make sure you're subscribed here. I'll see you all tomorrow for the Chris Catelli episode 3 breakdown, and then I'll see you Friday for the final episode breakdown. I'm so sad. I'm so sad it's ending, but not the end of the Schmigadoon content. Certainly not on this channel. This is Schmigadoon Central, us and Stealing Focus and Mickey Joe Theater. So let me know if you want me to try to rope anybody else from the production on here. I've put out some messages to a few cast members. I have been friendly with some of the dancers, with some of the creatives, some of the department people. So let me know what you want to see, and I will do my very best. But again, thank you all so much for being here on the live stream, or if you're watching this after the fact, thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate all of you, fellow Schmiga nerds. So follow me on the socials. Like I said a million times, subscribe and all that. But I think that's going to be the end of this live stream. Thanks everyone. I'll see you next time.